Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the Wnr530 is AEW All In 2024. I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show is a fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello. Sorry, my mute button would
What
not
a
work.
great start, Jaxie. Do you know
Dramatic
that?
entrance. It was. It's
Yeah.
called a dramatic entrance. Had to give it that pause, that momentary. Is she going to turn up? Is she not? I'm here.
Yeah. What happened at
Welcome on
Wembley?
in, everyone. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still reading. Just trying to pick up things. I'm old.
Yeah. But
Welcome on in, everyone. Welcome to All In Wembley review. Hello, James. How are you doing?
hello. I'm great. I mean, can you
Hi.
believe we've done
Good.
it again? Our second
I
all in
know. We
trip as well, eh?
survived. Exactly. Yeah, it was so much fun. Definitely tune in, grab yourself some drinks, and listen to a real life experience of our second ever All In.
Right, now up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod. It is Monty. And Monty, great to have you on board. And I'm going to feel bad because obviously we're going to talk about our experience of watching it. And again, we wished you were there. I will start by saying that. And it's great that you're here.
Well, the good thing about being a deity or part deity is that I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. My spirit was there every time you guys go to these joint events, even in Wembley. I'm here in spirit. So I did enjoy the show, and I know I love these shows. It's always cool to get you guys' perspective. You guys give me a whole bunch of content that you just don't get watching on your TV screen. So, it's really, really cool. One day we'll all be at a show, maybe a couple of shows. Who knows? It's all going to work out. I've already seen it in my mind as a deity. So it's going to work itself out. But yeah, man, I'm happy to be here. Excited to talk about this. Holding on because, I'm on the night shift. So we just keep on chugging through. We just keep on chugging.
That's what it's about. And honestly, Monty, like I said, if WrestleMania ever comes to London and everything like that, your name is on a ticket here, mate. All right, so don't worry about that. But that's saying down the future. But we're going to worry about today. Last,
You're
but
just
by
gonna
no
pay
means.
for my flight, right? Not the WrestleMania.
No,
ticket,
I'm not going to
right?
say.
'Cause
As I said, I didn't
that's
say
gonna
that.
be crazy
You know what I'm saying?
money. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Like, you have to get here, but that's why I moved on so
Right.
quickly.
You made a
Like, you get
commitment now,
tickets.
James. You got to stick to it. You made a commitment. Stick to it now.
Honestly, that's why we put it on the pod, so you can go back and listen. Hey, you guys have stuck around for 4 years. I can't believe that. So who's the real fool here? Do you know what I mean? Like, I will get.
I mean,
It's easy.
That's a really good point.
yeah, I've contemplated it, but the scales right now are evenly balanced. Considering, without this pod, we wouldn't have gotten so much great opportunity. So right now it's balanced, but it's slowly tipping. We'll see how it goes.
Oh yeah, Jaxie, I enjoy doing a pod with you more than meeting you in person. But anyway, we're going to get onto that. We have to introduce
Likewise.
the next person, and we're leaving together. But still, it's farewell, and maybe we'll come back to Earth. Who can tell? I guess there is no one to blame. We're leaving ground. Will things ever be the same again? It's the final countdown. The final countdown. Well, you get the idea. The Brie to my Brian, I suppose. Don't want to make it weird. Gina, welcome aboard. Another All In as well.
Yeah, well, thank you for that joyous, song. And first of all, can I just say that song gave me PTSD when he came out to it. So I was like, please tell me that this is good news and not like a send-off one. So I literally, the song is great, but it gives me PTSD.
Honestly, that song was in my head from when I left Wembley to kind of, even in bed, I was like, I just couldn't get it.
It's just ringing in your ears.
But a good time. And again, we're going to talk about experiences and everything like that. We're going to catch up with a lot of things as well. And up first, and we always do it as well, unfortunately, another W legend has passed away, Sid Vicious, at the age of 63. Now, usually we'll do this, and it might be a guy who maybe a little bit before, but I'm sure a lot of people, large percentage have heard of Sid Vicious or Psycho Sid or Sid Justice, as it was. A huge part of wrestling, especially, when I was a kid, former WWF champion, WCW champion, main evented WrestleManias as well. Montes is a huge loss, and again, I think it makes it even more kind of tragic as well, is, like I said, the cancer diagnosis that he had and how quickly he went, but a true legend in our sport. Whether he was maybe, the greatest technical wrestler or not, he definitely left a lot of memorable moments.
Yeah, man, he was a big deal, man. He's a big guy. Outside of the ring, you hear he had a big heart. He's a good person, but it's kind of ironic that a guy like him that I associate with, like, maybe ending Shawn Michaels' reign at the Royal Rumble with Psycho Sid, or even, like you said, you can go back even further than that, and his involvement with the Horsemen and and stuff he did in WCW before he ever crossed over to WWE the first time. But he's one of those guys, one of those figures, one of those faces that you can kind of put next to the Rick Rudes and the Warriors and a lot of those people, those figures, bigger than life figures that we kind of grew up seeing. I know everybody knows the Hogans and the Flairs, the big names, those guys get a lot of praise, but Sid was just as big, just as prominent, and multiple time world champion as a lot of those guys, and he had just a lot of beautiful moments. I remember stuff that maybe like the clip that's been going around lately, like the WCW moment of him discovering the car. That was bad television, but he made it one of the greatest moments ever by just reacting to it in the way he did, so over the top. And the thing I love about that moment is that he just kind of brought the most out of pretty much everything that he did. At least that's just the way I remember him. I'm not one of those guys who was old enough at the time to be. Some people were. I knew as I got older, people were critical of his style and saying he was, one-dimensional. But I really thought he filled his role wonderfully every time. As the big guy, whether he was a babyface, he could be cool, or he can be menacing and just like, one of the most intimidating presences that you ever seen. So I just really thought he did a really good job. And he just, like you mentioned, he's going to always kind of always held a nice place in my heart as just one of my favorites growing up, man. Even if he never really kind of stuck around a long time, even his big major injury sticks out in my mind. Like when he jumped off, when they made him jump off the top rope, when he had no business diving. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, like sticks out. Like that's just how much I love seeing going back and just hearing about his passing was really, really sad, but he's just a legend, man. And I was kind of cool to see a lot of wrestlers and a lot of his peers kind of give him his flowers, even though it's after he's passed. But again, he's just one of those guys that I just think will probably never get the credit he truly deserves. But hopefully, new fans can go back, and if you forgot about Sid or something, maybe you can look back fondly and just get some of those memories that he gave me, because I always loved. Also, his Psycho Sid theme, one of my favorite things ever. I could just cut that theme off. The menacing sound and the way the beat came in, Jim Johnston or whoever was made that one with for Psycho Sid, man, that was always one of my favorite songs. But yeah, I love Sid. Rest in peace, and my condolences to the family, man. It's just, again, I hate whenever we lose one, it sucks. But like you said, one of those guys that you just grew up watching, and I can just vividly remember all of the cool things that he used to do. It really, really sucks.
Without a doubt. And again, even appearing in ECW and during that time period as well, to be a world champion in WWF and WCW showed just kind of how big a star he really was. But we're going to move on, of course, talk about AEW, and we covered Blood and Guts, a lot of stuff, or Blood and Guts even. We look at the Owen Hart tournament, because, of course, the winners of that went to All In the field for the first round of the Women's Owen Hart Cup. saw Chris Statlander beat Nyla Rose. Serena Deeb lose to Willow Nightingale. Mariah May beating Soraya and Shida downing Perazzo. The men's field saw Brian Danielson beat Shingo at Forbidden Door. Claudio losing to Pac. Jay White beating Ray Phoenix. And Jeff Jarrett taking a mystery wild card, which turned out to be Adam Page. So, Jaxie, what were your thoughts on the first round of the Owen Hart Cup with men and the women's?
Yeah, I kind of figured that, like, I felt like it was going to be a must that, like, Willow went through just simply because of her win last year. But yeah, Hangman, just this was like kind of the start of, like, I think this was when you started hearing his Hangman's like sort of what I call the heel music, so to speak. So it was definitely a shock, but also kind of not a shock. I think that there was a lot of discussion, or probably a lot of guessing from a lot of fans as to whether or not Hangman Page would enter this. So to see him get into the ring and be as aggressive as he was, I was like, yeah, he's going to go far in this tournament, you know? But this really did set the stage for the caliber of matches we were going to get, and the type of drive that we were going to see from all these wrestlers within the tournament. Like, there was definitely a clear desire from all of these different individuals that want to become the winner of the Owen Cup, you know? So I enjoyed both these matches respectively. I thought that Willow looked good, which so she should, considering going into All In, she had this match against this mixed tag match against Chris coming up. But also, again, the aggressive side of Hangman just kind of continuing to progress and show to the audience, like kind of how mad he's becoming, you know?
Yeah, without a doubt. In the semi-finals, we had Willow Nightingale defeating Chris Statlander, Mariah May defeating Shida, and then Brian Danielson defeated Pac, and Adam Page defeated Jay White. And then in the finals, Danielson beat Page and May beat Willow. So, Gina, I mean, what were your thoughts on this then? With the semi-finals and the final, of course, May getting the win and Danielson as well. Were they right choices?
Oh, yeah, for sure. With the way that they've been pushing both of these characters all year, it kind of felt like, not that it was owed to them, but I think it was deserved, you know, in different ways. Regardless as to where they took Mariah's story, whether they wanted to continue her being this prodigy of Tony or not, or have her change and you know, be a heel. I think it was the right thing to do with the way that they've showcased her, the way that they've brought her across from, like, you know, the Japan scene over into America. I think she's definitely won over the crowd in terms of people know who she is right off the bat, even if they didn't know her before she joined. So I think she was great to, you know, have that win, and the fact that they did make her do this flip up straight away I thought was brilliant. So yeah, definitely enjoyed it. And Danielson, he come on, he deserves something. The amount of time, how long he's been in AEW, he deserved to get something. And we know his career is coming to an end, or at least full-time career is coming to an end soon. So we were like, he needs to get some form of wins and, you know, just things behind his belt so he can leave out and say, I've done this and I've done that. So definitely good choices.
I was a bit upset about Pac, you know, because I think, well, you know, his home country maybe get a chance, but I think you're bang on about Mariah May.
Definitely agree with Pac, about Pac.
Yeah, and I think Mariah May as well, like you said, the building of a star. We got Dynamite notes.
They shoehorned him in. It was fine.
Yeah, MJF beat Will's Boy. Then we had Dynamite in Cardiff, with Tony Schiavone open up Dynamite by welcoming Baker in the ring for an all-in contract signing. Camille was by Monet's side. She came to the ring, making a TBS title match official. Then we saw Tony Storm set take on Mariah all in, as we know, but Saraya was looking to spoil her plans in the championship match. The Cardiff crowd were firmly in Storm's corner, so she started using her own carnival wrestling tricks to mess with her opponent, but of course got the win. Monty, what are your thoughts on this? Because again, the women's matches, you know, they should be big deals, of course. And Saraya versus Storm, and the Cardiff crowd really brought it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the crowd, the environment kind of helped. I think just Tony's talent. I mean, and even Saraya in knowing her role and just playing it to perfection. I think she gets a lot of slack, but I think she's even though, and I don't know if we're gonna talk about it, but like when I think after All In, they're kind of going to start leaning into it. a little bit more, which is a lot of like the negativity around her, and I don't mind it, but it's just like the only problem I got with it is that we already kind of got a whole learning tree. That's pretty much the whole premise of the learning tree is leaning into the fact that the people don't like you. But we'll see. Maybe they'll do something different with it. But yeah, just as far as the match go and just these two, their styles, complemented each other. I thought the crowd was great. Tony did a good job of just kind of it's kind of funny how that style, the style that she was kind of doing, the old carnival wrestler, also fits in with her retro just character too. It's just kind of cool how that kind of plays together, even though they're kind of different too. But again, it's really, really cool. At this point, I think we all know that Tony is one of the, she has been and is and continues to be one of the shining stars. And this was just a good little setup, I think, a little tease for what they were setting up for Wembley.
Yeah, without a doubt. We saw Okada and Claudio go into a 20-minute time limit draw. Jaxie, what are your thoughts? Because your screech is still in my ears from Wembley with Okada. We'll get into that. But what are your thoughts on Okada and Claudio in Cardiff?
I mean, these two went hard. I could watch them again, and I'd really kind of like it if we could watch them again. I wasn't actually too mad that they went to the time limit because, I mean, with how well presented Claudio is, I feel like it was hard to actually see like him realistically take a clean loss with kind of the current run he'd been on and things. So I kind of enjoyed the back and forth of this. I felt like Claudio is a really good opponent for Okada. He pushes Okada because he has more of this sort of aggressive technical stature about him that challenges what Okada brings to the ring. So I don't think that this was like an easy feat for either of them, but they both looked good and they both worked well together. So I really enjoyed this match. I didn't think that Okada was going to lose just yet, but like I'm kind of happy with this outcome. I didn't mind it.
Well, I was pissing and moaning that they wouldn't be at Wembley, but again, we'll get on to that. FTR and Darby beat the Elite. MJF and Ospreay had words, and Dynamite ended with a final confrontation between Danielson and Strickland. We see Swerve bringing up the family, and Danielson hit him with a knee, and he called himself the best fucking wrestler in the world for 20 years as well. Again, Gina, with Danielson and the emotion and the connection he's got with the crowd, like, this could be the end, but, I mean, what a talent,
Definitely. And, like, again, with how hot Strickland has been since winning the belt, it's even more difficult to kind of ascertain what's going to happen here, because it's just like, even though Danielson has pretty much earned the spot that he is definitely in, he definitely deserves to have the title. Swerve has just been so hot, and it's not like he was even a heel either, and it was difficult because you don't want to look at him like he's a heel again, because technically for the past few months he's been a face, but you don't want the brilliance of Bryan Danielson to not get this opportunity and not get the chance to hold that belt. So yeah, you can definitely, like, this promo definitely had you more invested if you weren't so invested already.
Yeah, without doubt. And I wish that this was the main event of last year's show. Again, we're going to get onto that again, but it just felt like this was the perfect main event. We did have Collision, and Nina Samuels was on the show, Monty. I don't know if you saw her for her 24-second appearance, but
yeah,
it's great to see her. And Big Bill was more loved than Hook. I mean, Jaxie, you mentioned this to me, and I was just like, I don't know, let me watch it. And I was like, why is Big Bill so over? Has anybody got any idea? Or was it just a special moment?
I'm still waiting for someone to answer me because I do not understand how Big Bill managed to get over it. Honestly, it was just one split moment where I think he got Hook down and he addressed the crowd and he did something funny. And that moment just switched everyone up and everyone was loving him then. And it was like all of a sudden he was trying to do everything to irritate the crowd, and instead they were cheering him. And I was so shocked at even the end with Hook getting the win and he got horribly booed. I do not think Hook deserved that. But I found it incredibly funny as to how the audience all of a sudden got behind Big Bill like this. It was just very random.
Yeah. Somewhere Enzo More's trying to take credit, but it was all Big Bill. And then Claudia and Utah with Pac beat Top Flight. But enough of that. We've caught up. We're headed to Wembley now. So Sunday, August 25th, Wembley Stadium, 0 hour became 2 hours with Renee, RJ and Double J. And we had Lexi Nair and Arcady Aura. Again, who are these women that are just, what the fucking hell? Are they from NXT or something like that? I don't know. Taz joined the panel. We saw Angelina Love. Renee sat down with Will. Nigel wants Danielson retired. Renee sat down with Brie. Swerve has signed a new contract. I mean, Monty, we've got to talk about this quickly. Swerve signed a contract, and there's been a lot of talk, oh my God, how much money was this? I think it's great, I mean, all these ridiculous wages in the world of sport should be wrestlers that are finally getting what they're worth, shouldn't it? Or, unless I'm wrong. I'll play the other way if you don't believe it.
Is it? Now I'm interested to hear the other way. Because I don't.
It's killing
really
the sport. They're not worth it. WWE can't sign them because it's not market value.
The problem I have with this is that people are it's just WWE's parent company is who right now, Jay? You're a fan of UFC, right? Yeah, you're a fan of UFC, right, Jay? Their parent company is who? TKO. TKO owns what? UFC. What does Dana argue with people all the time about? What does the owner of the UFC argue all the time about? He's literally getting. I don't know if he's legit getting sued, but he's probably
he is,
should
yeah.
be.
He is.
Okay, he's legitimately getting sued for fighter wages. So nobody who's pro WWE should be trying to make any arguments about how big money contracts is killing the business. I also don't even like the argument that people are saying. People from WWE are saying that to make Tony look like he's wasting all of his money. I'm going to be honest with you. If it's somebody's money I do not really care about, it's a billionaire. Do not give a damn about a billionaire's money at all. That's up to them. And like you mentioned, Swerve is more than deserving if it wasn't just for not just for his body of work that he's been doing as champion, but just like you mentioned, James, it's just we've been through this so many times where it's just only certain guys at the top are getting these top wages. And and if this is really true, I also blame top guys of the past because honestly, I know, like people always used to say it. Like if Hogan or a certain guy at the top didn't ask for this amount of money, the other guys down wasn't going to get it either. So at the end of the day, I think we just, like you said, we need a culture where everybody is paid fairly, whether it's women, whether it's men. If you have to, if the bar now is Mercedes money, everybody should be shooting. And every owner should be having to have to pay Mercedes money or Okada money. It is what it is. I don't think that's a bad. Any wrestling fan, anybody who claims to like wrestling or claims to respect what these people do for your entertainment, we all these guys who we literally got Brian, who literally in a storyline talking about how at the end of this year he's gonna have to have neck surgery. We got all these people who literally give their bodies and sometimes their life in the ring, and you want to argue that a guy making a lot of money doing something that like this is going to kill the business? Like, no, it's stupid. Everyone claims WWE on the WWE side that they're making record funds. What is Triple H doing at the end of every PLE, Jay? All of what are these prices that fans are paying to fill up these arenas? We talk about ticket prices. They're charging crazy amounts. I would love to think that if I'm paying however expensive amounts for my ticket, that these are going into these people who I'm watching risk their bodies for my entertainment into their contract. And so I love what Tony's doing. Keep doing it. Everybody should go into the. If I'm let's see who's probably going to be a big star coming up. From anybody who's next up from male to women should be going into that negotiation. If they feel like they deserve it and they put in the work, they should be asking for Randy Orton money, Swerve money, Okada money. You know what I mean? Go into it because that's what everybody, like you said, everybody is doing that from different sports. So why does wrestling have to be different? And we can just leave it at that. And to me, that's all that I got.
You know, like, I mean,
just show me. I know you get it, but anybody who don't, I just want to know. Explain to me how is this hurting him?
Yeah, it's hurting the billionaires who own these companies. Like, that's anyway. We start the matches 1 hour and 20 before the main show, and I've got to tell you, at this point, we were nowhere near. All right, I mean, I had to go meet Jaxie and Gina because, quote, they couldn't be bothered walking any further. So I'm just, you know what I mean, Monty? Like, sometimes it's fun.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
No. Sis, we will intervene here. Monty, we were outside Wembley waiting. He would not respond with words, just kept sending his location as if to indicate to come and meet his ass and walk him back to Wembley Stadium. We were there before him. We sent him
the pub
the
drinking.
Location.
Yeah.
No, we sent you.
Oh.
Stood outside Wembley. We had to come get you from the car. Don't even act like it was.
I was stuck in a car 3 hours getting there, and they were in a pub drinking, and they couldn't be bothered to come meet me. Like, I was like, well,
we were stood outside Wembley. You could have come just straight to us. We had to leave Wembley Stadium to come get your ass. Shut up, James.
Oh, you need to tell Monty shut up then. Anyway, yeah, like
Monty, lightly. This is what happened. We missed the beginning of the pre-show because we had to go and pick up James before entering the stadium.
Yeah, all right. Well, we weren't even at McDonald's at this point. We're going to get onto that, all right? Anyway, the matches start with Excalibur, Tony, and Daddy Magic and commentary. 16-man tag team match. Boy, we missed a lot. I'm not going to lie. But the participants, Private Party, Dark Order, Jay Lethal, Davari, Satnam Singh, and Anthony Ogogo versus Dynamite Kid, Kip Sabian, Rocky Romero, Top Flight, Action Andretti, and Leo Rush. The late moments were quite fun in the contest. All the big moves being hit with Dante Martin scoring the win for his team with a crossover flog splash to Davari. I might be wrong, but I don't think Dynamite Kid wrestled at Wembley. But how very nice for Tony to book these guys. Jaxie, did you go back and watch 0 Hour?
Yeah, again, I think you kind of just pointed out the right things. This was kind of a feel-good match. You got to see sort of like lighthearted and also hype moments, just kind of given to everyone, especially like the face side. And it was a feel-good win for Dante to pick up the win.
I think without a doubt. Scores there, then Jaxie, why don't you start us off?
I mean, I didn't really feel like there was any need for this match. It did what it needed to do there, so I'll give it like a 3 1/4 because it was decent for what it was, but like there was no purpose to it being on All In. It was just sort of there to feature sort of these other wrestlers that are very talented within their own right, and just to showcase them. So I feel like that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, Monty, you're the only one that probably saw this live. What are you going to score it?
Yeah. Way too many people, but 3 1/4 is fair. Again, I like the idea, like at least from a perspective of this is a big show. We got a lot of guys. Let's get them on the show. Let's make something happen. But other than that, and then like you said, it's just a kickoff match type of style or standard. Because with 16 people, how much time do you have to really get into your stuff, to be honest, anyway? So I think everybody out there did their best with what they were given and, with the time. And I love the sentiment of it, but I don't think I ever need to see a 16-man tag team match. But again, 3 1/4 is the right score, though. I think it was good.
Tony on commentary was like, I don't think we've ever seen a 16-man tag match. There is a reason.
There's a reason for that, yeah.
Gina?
Yeah, I'm going to be truthful. I did not watch this match, as in I haven't gone back to watch it. So I think 3 1/4 from me is fair because I don't really have any comments on it.
Good old Gina. What about then, Gina, the news that February 15th next year, AEW will be in Australia for Grand Slam? Do you think that will be a success? I mean, they're trying new markets.
I mean, I think it's quite fair to say that there will be a little bit of success there still because they do have Australian talent with Carl Fletcher. I don't know if the other one that he used to tag with was Australian or not, but either way, I think they'll still have a market for it, especially because the WWE kind of brought that over there. So I think like more people would jump at the opportunity to go and see another wrestling event. But yeah, I think that would be all right. It's a good announcement.
We get Willow Nightingale and a measure of revenge on Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway, even, for the betrayal earlier this year, teaming with Tomohiro Ishii to defeat them in a mixed tag team match. Tags that brought Ishii and Hathaway in the contest by the entertainment. As we saw the spine buster as well, which I couldn't believe, but ultimately a win for the baby faces. Monty, what are your thoughts on this? Because we were eating burgers at this point.
Yeah, I was probably looking for some vodka or something. This was great from a spectacle point of view. The match, I mean, I didn't come into this expecting a crazy tag, and I do think the girls did really good. I thought they were fun. The kind of disservice of the whole angle, though, is kind of like you're only gonna think about that spine buster. You're only really gonna think about Ishii and Stokely and just their interactions, because I think that was pretty much the whole point of the match. This was good fun. I just don't know what this does for the Willow Chris storyline, and does this even have any? Is there even still an angle there at this point? Because I thought they were doing really good, and actually going somewhere with the heat, but now it feels exactly like what we kind of thought it would be, James, with the whole. Yep, he'll get that first victory and then, never win again. So, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with Statlander. I think we all know she can be way more prominent. But to be honest, I'm not going to criticize AEW's women's division because they've been killing it in a lot of ways up and down. So from a perspective of a story that isn't supposed to really be that serious at the moment, I thought it was good. So I gave it 3 stars.
Give it 3. Gina, I'm not going to ask you if you watch this. How was your bacon double cheeseburger in McDonald's at the time when this match was on? Was it good?
Yeah, sorry. It was so worth it. Definitely
You're not eating
worth
another one, are you?
No. I wish. You're making me want it now. But no, again, I didn't. I haven't watched the 0 hour. I've just rewatched the main show. So I didn't see this. Again, for me, I think I'll go with a 3.5. But for me, I didn't really think it was going to be anything serious for Ishii. Like, he didn't really get to show off like his wrestling to the maximum because he probably had to hold back a lot with Stokely. So yeah, 3.5 is the main for me. The bacon double cheeseburger, I'm going to give that a 5.
I'll give it a 5 out of 5. Speaking of McDonald's as well, other restaurants are available. Monty, Gina and Jaxie turned on me at McDonald's, and so bad security wouldn't even help me. And that's a fact. So that's how
security was embarrassed with you. Walking around with around professing your love for Drew McIntyre, embarrassing both of us. Honestly, no, you embarrassed me. So yeah,
show. Why are you talking about Drew?
Do you know what I mean? This is our argument. Right? Exactly. He came in and Drew top and started professing his love about it. It's like, are you talking about Drew for? This is AEW. I was like, shut up, you're embarrassing me. And he kept going on. So yeah. We slapped on him.
It looked like it should have been a Yeet t-shirt. Plus, both of those are WWE, so we were literally just ripping into him.
Yeah, and they got a point. You got a point. Fuck you.
Because argument was warranted.
I'm not having fucking strangers tell me that, though. Or fucking people lining up for milkshakes and shit. Going, yeah, they got a point. Fuck off. And anyway, it's the closest, Monty, I've seen to Gina and Jaxie have an argument. Because Jackson was like, hurry up, and Gina's like, oh, come on. And then I was like, they're going to argue. They didn't, but it was close. It was there. They were getting annoyed, you know?
Why were you waiting for it?
Because I know what Jackson's like. So, again, just, I felt...
Just wanted to see it in person.
Honestly. Poor Gina. What are we talking about? Yeah, Jaxie, what were your thoughts about the Willow match?
Again, I feel like... I feel kind of semi disappointed in terms of like the outcome, because I feel like there's some valid points that Monty brought up with like kind of what they could be doing with Chris, and how prominent she could look. But I also kind of gathered like this feud with Willow. It's like one of them's got to look good and stuff. But I kind of saw this with going with like Chris would kind of probably win and then choose the stipulation, and then you would get like sort of Willow as the overall winner of this, considering their previous one-on-one match I think was Chris winning. So yeah, I was a bit confused in terms of, okay, well, where is this leading to? Are we going to get another Chris win? Maybe, I don't know. At All Out, I'm not too sure. But I also did call it at like sort of having like that comedy factor with Ishii Stokely. I kind of found it funny. It was like it kind of was lighthearted, and I still had a chuckle along with it. So this did what it needed to do, to set up their overall one-on-one match between them at All Out. But I was gutted with the outcome, because I thought Chris probably would pick up the win here and choose the stipulation. So I think overall 3 is fair. So I'm going to go with that.
Yeah. There was a bit where you were, bitching about Monty's predictions as well, but I'm sure you don't want to talk about that, but you were really bad mouthing. I was like, look, it's not to defend himself.
Are you sure you don't remember this coming out your own mouth? Pretty sure that was all I heard, and I had to tell you to stop your yapping about Monty.
We move on to predictions. It's up in our prediction league 2024, and we're moving on, guys. After SummerSlam and before All In and the Bash, bonus league Monty, the great Monty, is on 21 points. Gina and James on 14. Jaxie all the way on 8. WWE, James and Monty on 4. Gina, Jaxie on 2. And AEW, James and Jaxie on 2. Gina, Monty on 1. Monty and James went for Willow. Gina and Jaxie went for Stats, so the boys are on 1. Girls are on 0. Tony Khan was with Martha Hart. I was trying to look at the merchandise. I mean, Jax was going, what do you want to look at that for? And I said, I just want to have a look. They were charging scarves for 30 quid. Tops are like 65, a couple of them. And it was just like, what the fuck are you doing?
It was also just the generic like AEW London like logos, like no actual wrestler based t-shirts, just like the AEW brand and like Wembley and stuff like that. It was like, are you mad?
And then there was news Forbidden Door in London next year as well. They've not announced where it's going to be, but Monty, this is a good move. I mean, like we said, last year we had 80,000. Now it's 50,000 at Wembley. So maybe Forbidden Door in an arena. I reckon maybe Craven Cottage. But again, more of an international flavour.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm most likely definitely going to probably be in an arena. Even though, it is I do think this is pretty cool and smart. I mean, New Japan has been working with Real Pro. I mean, going over there for a long time. So the working relationship is cool. They have a nice little base of people, not just you guys that I have, pulled, use my influence to pull you guys to New Japan. But it's a lot of people who really love New Japan. I mean, and then with the possibilities of the G1 winners, that since with that possibility and Zia, and you having a guy like him to be able to put in marketing, I think it'll be a good idea. But I can't wait to see how everything shakes out, though, and where, like you said, where they decide to do it. The crowd is gonna go nuts either way. I think it's gonna be a nice environment, and I think it'll be kind of cool to kind of see, a different style and to put a non-American crowd to that, and then eventually, especially I think they're doing the show in January, like right after the Dome, so they're already trying to start pulling shows in Japan. So who knows? At some point you might even get a Forbidden Door in Japan. So I love it, man. I love the fact that they're trying new things, trying to expand, and I just I want them to keep growing. And I think this is a great little step, using kind of that influence that they're gaining from doing Wembley 2 years in a row.
Yeah, without doubt. 10-man tag match next. We got Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, Shibata, Ross and Marshall Von Erich versus Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Toa Lanoa, Bishop Korn, Brian Cage, Faces won. Bit awkward that Cage and Sammy had a Wolverine outfit, really, you know. But we were in this stadium at this point. Again, Monty, it was just another basic 10-man tag to try and fit everybody on, really.
Yeah, again, it's the kickoff show, so you can't really get too mad at it. I did think this one was a little bit, I mean, obviously, since it was 10 instead of 16, this was definitely better than the first one. But, you know, again, just a good pre-show match. I think it's always cool to see Dustin doing his thing, and how over he was kind of fun. You know, the Iron Claw spot was cool too. You know, kind of enjoyed that, and you know, it did its job. It did its job, and I don't know if it woke you guys up any more than anything else would have. But again, as far as from the perspective of this is a big event, kind of like in the vein of the old WrestleManias when they do these battle royals on the pre-show. I understand why they did it, and I appreciate it. It was pretty cool. 3.5 were probably where I'd see it.
3.5. Jaxie?
Yeah, I mean, again, I felt like this was exactly kind of similar to the match that we had with like Dante picking up the win. It just kind of was a feel-good moment. And like Monty said, it was kind of like nice to see sort of the UK crowd actually stood behind even Dustin, you know, giving him that recognition as well and sort of what he has done. So it was another feel-good match. I'm going to give this a 3.25. It did what it needed to do.
3.25. And Gina?
Yeah, I mean, again, I didn't really see this, so I'm going to give it a 3.25.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go to you first. Don't worry, I got you. Predictions all went faces. So boys won 2, girls won 1. And then Rage Saraya made her way to the ring, flanked by the entire Night family, and attempted to hold up the show in protest at not having a match on Sunday's card. Jamie Hayter made her long-awaited return and laid out everyone before standing tall to close out the segment. The entire Wembley Stadium went crazy, apart from me, because I missed this moment, and it was Jaxie's fault, because Jaxie told me to wait in a certain area, and she went there, because Jaxie, what did you do instead? What did you do?
You were
Instead
in
of
the
meeting me,
bathroom.
where did you go?
You went to the bathroom.
No,
you went
I was
to
there.
the bathroom. You
103, you
were
told me
cheating.
to wait. No.
Listen,
What did you do?
no,
Tell them what you did. What did you and Gina do?
Well,
Did you
James,
A,
be
wait for
quiet.
me?
James,
Yeah.
be quiet a minute. Monty, put yourself in our shoes. We said, okay, meet here because he wanted to go to the bathroom. We're stood right in sort of where our entrance is to go for our seats, and we're kind of waiting there for him to go to the bathroom. And you hear Jamie Hayter's music. Monty, answer me this, right? If you hear Jamie Hayter's music and then you actually look at the entrance and you can see her name come up, are you waiting right there, or are you running out right now to see if you can fucking catch a glimpse of Jamie Hayter's fucking return?
No, listen.
No.
You went down.
No. Let me
ask Monty this question.
Answer the question first. No, you don't get to answer. No, he needs to answer.
If you're told to me, if I've gone
let him
to
answer
103 and done that. No, listen. If I've gone and done that.
No, let him answer.
Right, you answer that first. Then.
Answer.
You know, I think he interrupted you because he knows what the answer is.
No. What I'm saying
we're gonna
to you,
run this.
Please do answer. What was that?
We're gonna run to see Jamie.
Yeah, exactly.
They ran down the wrong bit. So if I'd have gone down my bit as I was supposed to, they would have asked me for tickets, and Gina and Jaxie would have missed the entire show because they would have forced me in, and they wouldn't have got there because I had the tickets. So I took one for the fucking team. Yet again, I take your shit.
I actually did call you whilst we were stood there to let you know where we were. Did you answer?
I didn't have my phone in my hand, did I? You knew what I had in my hand.
Did you call back? No, you did not. That's on you. Bad communication. Bad jokes. Yeah, you stood there.
Okay, you both sides make good points. We just agree that
this argument.
It was Jackson's fault. Yeah. So, Gina, anyway.
Agree to disagree.
Gina, what did you think of Jamie Hayter? Because obviously I didn't see it.
She looked great. She looked absolutely great. And I am thoroughly disappointed that this was her entrance, though. I actually
not that I missed it. No, it's fine. Don't worry. Go on, carry on.
I don't care about you, James. You've missed it on your own accord.
I didn't.
No, I'm gutted because I feel like Jamie's return could have come back in either of the two women's matches on the card. She's linked with like both Britt and Tony. Like,
Yeah.
they could have had her return on the main card. Like, there was a lot of people who were still up getting their food and their drinks because they were more arriving for like the main show, or they went for a break and went to go and get food. Shut up. And so, yeah, I'm just really disappointed that they gave Jamie's return at that moment. I'm super happy she's made a return and she looks fucking awesome. But why the hell are you doing it on the 0 hour part of the show when you know a majority of the people are still either just arriving, getting food, or in the toilet? So that really irks.
But the thing is, Monty, are they doing it for the people that are there, or for maybe the audience watching to order the pay-per-view? You know, because look at this.
Yeah, that's fair. It might have been from. I think it's for. I think you're 100% right. They placed it there because it's for those few people. Which I don't know how many of these people there are that actually exist, but for the few people who watch the pre-show, who hasn't bought the actual pay-per-view yet. Yeah, Jamie Hayter is gonna make you jump and buy, even though we pretty much anybody who watches them wrestling know that if you're gonna do it, then you wouldn't just do it just for Jamie. I understand both sides though. Like, it was just great to see her. I think I'm just from that perspective. I never really thought about how they were using her, but that's such a great point that I was thinking that, you know, because of the rumors that her and Britt aren't really getting along personally. I don't know what's true or not. So when you premiere her here instead of during Britt's situation, when they literally seem like you have Camille there, the perfect setup for Jamie to kind of just show up at the end or something at least, you know, it does kind of leave, okay, maybe they don't like each other. But then besides the gossip, then you bring up Tony. That's just a great point. I never thought about that. Just let her stand tall against whoever wins, you know, that title match. So, yeah, man, but again, I think overall, I don't know. I think so far, Tony and them may not know exactly what they want to do, where they want to insert her right off the bat. But I do believe at the end of the day, it's just a positive. I think I've been seeing people for months now just begging for information on Jamie and when will she return. She is a true star, and it's just so now that you have someone like Mercedes, or now when you have what Mariah has done to build up her stock and all of that. When you have so much, just the focus, like she was a bright spot in a women's division that wasn't really getting the shine that it deserved, that we all kind of agreed on. So to see her back now, when the women's division has seemingly been brought back into focus, I'm really excited for what's to come. And again, she looked great. It was really excellent too. Excellent look for her too. So unfortunately, James, I hope you watched it back.
Yeah, I had to go watch the 0 hour to see it. Yeah, it's great. But again, like you said, it's interesting. You mentioned Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, maybe, you know, working with people that you don't like. Jaxie, what were your thoughts of Jamie Hayter's return?
Yeah, I feel like that both Monty and my sister brought up some valid points. I think that the hype was there. We heard it. You know, we had to go running when hearing like the absolute like hype that came from Wembley Stadium itself. But again, I felt really disappointed that her return was placed on the 0 hour rather than it being on the main card. Not only could you kind of have a spot or a sort of like most watched YouTube sort of moment for the women's division on AEW, like having her return on the main roster like that. But I just feel like there's a missed out opportunity. And I feel like, you know, Monty brings up, you know, there's rumors of a potential, not feud, but a disagreement between them, maybe in real life, like Britt and Jamie. And even if that is true, you could have worked that in. Like Monty said, you know, especially having Camille and Britt's first return, having that clean win kind of like not only soiled Britt's return, but also kind of like doesn't make sense. Like, why wouldn't you have it so that even if Britt lost with a clean or with the help of Camille, you have Camille come in, then both beating Britt up, Jamie come out for the return, that big hype, that big pop. she makes the save and makes the other two go running, and you actually have Britt all of a sudden be ungrateful for the help, and then walk off and actually just start a feud, like let them hash it out in the ring. Do you see what I mean? So they, even if they weren't getting along, you still could have worked that in, and that would have made sense. Like having her return really on the 0 hour to me made no sense when she is that high caliber of a level of wrestler that everyone was anticipating coming back. Why wouldn't you want that return on your main card? So yeah, like again, that's that. I think that's my only negative, is that I feel like, that could have been like a most hyped moment had that been on the main card rather than the 0 hour. But it's great to see her back. She was in great shape, and to be honest, I'm excited to see whichever way she goes. Like my sister said, she's got sort of a connection with both Britt and Tony, so they could play on anything, and maybe they're just waiting to see kind of how things play out right now to see where she'll be slotted in. I'm excited for her return either way, and excited and eager to see where she goes from here.
Well, the excitement was over as we had finally met up at the designated spot that we said we were going to, but not before security threatened to kick me out for vaping. And again, it says no smoking. Didn't say no vaping. But the guy was a massive cunt. So if you're listening, you're a cunt, all right?
Yeah. He had a full-on alpha flex. That I was like, take it down a notch, dude. And not only that, but everyone in the stadium that was in front of us, behind us, were vaping. So I was like, why the F are you getting this mad when everyone else is doing it? Calm the F down, dude. Like, you literally went on an alpha male flex and you didn't look good. You looked stupid. So that's all I'm saying. Like, you literally look stupid.
And again, I mean, not saying anything, but I got in his face and he backed down because he's a pussy. I mean, that's the story. I'm sticking to it. So we got to our seats. House of Black with Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews and Brody King made an entrance. And then we saw, of course, Claudio, Pac, Wheeler Yuta, then the Bang Bang Gang and the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Nick Wayne and Killswitch. At this point I'm thinking, how much of the fucking show have we missed? But luckily that was the end of 0 hour into the main show, which was a London ladder match for the AEW World Trios Championship. And we did see several incredible bumps and spots, all equally dangerous and awe-inspiring. Juice stood out for me, taking several of the big spills. Muff Wayne played a key role at two different spots, but ultimately came down to miscommunication between Cage and Killswitch that led to the bastard getting his Wembley moment. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this to start the show?
I mean, first of all, this is the way that you want to start something like a big event in Wembley Stadium, is with a London ladder match. So I think this was the perfect choice to actually place this match here on the match card and actually open All In. It just creates that excitement straight away. I have to agree with you, James. I felt like Juice had so many standout moments that he really kind of like outshone a lot of the wrestlers in this, just in terms of an entertainment factor with what he was getting up to and things. This was a lot of fun to watch, especially live, like hearing the excitement coming from all different areas of the crowd. You could hear like different favorites and stuff. And it was really just interesting to watch, especially from where we were sat. We had a really great view of a lot of the ring, which meant we could see a lot of what was going on around the ring as well. So it was great to watch that and then watch it back more up close. It was a great experience for something like a ladder match. I feel like there was like one moment that Pac did. What's his move where off the top rope? I always get these top rope moves mixed up. Which move is that he does off the top rope? Because a corkscrew sort of. And is it the four?
Black arrow, red
465. Oh, it could be like the black arrow.
Yeah, one of them arrows.
You guys know that move. You guys know that move. Like, I cannot actually stress enough how high that looks live. Like, that looks incredibly high, terrifying at the same time, but incredible to look at. Pac really is talented in the ring in sort of creating those high moments, and it was just great to see live. So that was a real standout moment. Was that move really for me? I was shocked by this outcome because there were some really great standout moments for House of Black where I really felt, they're getting it. This would actually be really well justified considering they lost it this time last year to the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. So I really strongly believed that House of Black was going to pick up the win here. They still looked incredibly good. There was a lot of standout moments with Brody and Buddy that just really were well remembered. But overall, it so feel good. I can't say that I'm not happy about the winner being Blackpool Combat Club with Pac. But this is very random. It was a very random outcome, you know. Overall, I'm actually going to give this a 4.25 because I really enjoyed it. I think if I had watched it not live, it might have been a little bit maybe just a 4, but I'm giving it a 4.25 because of some of the moves that I got to watch live were just incredible. And it was a great experience.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Monty, I'm probably going to say this a couple of times, but, we saw with the pre-show the multi-man matches, and now to start the show with a ladder match, it felt very kind of like WrestleMania, this was AEW's kind of biggest show of the year. And again, with the talent involved, they did deliver, even if Jaxie is right, where we just wasn't expecting that outcome.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can see you can be unpleasantly unexpected. I think this is one situation because of how it was executed. It ended up being a pleasant type of surprise. Especially with the hometown thing. But I also have seen a criticism of the decision being that other than the fact that he's in London and we know that he's from the UK. Here we go. What other reason do you have to give them this moment? But again, I'm a big fan of Pac, and I just think not only just for him, but I think it was just well executed too, the match itself, and I think the WrestleMania feel to it is definitely true. It definitely had that element, and I do think it did a great job of just being a fun opener at the end of the day. Even if I didn't really think. You know what I mean? Even if I didn't really think the winner made sense. But to be fair, this entire trio type of thing, when I was deciding on who would win, it honestly could have went anywhere and so that's kind of why I think I tried to play it safe. But Pac and Wheeler Yuta and Claudio, I mean, well, who can really argue with them being champions when you think about it? But it definitely was one of those things that you just didn't see coming. But I don't think it was a bad thing, even though I've seen other people make that argument. I can understand that too.
Yeah, what would you score it? Sorry.
Oh, I'm off 4. I give it 4.
Yeah, no, you are right. Though I understand what you're saying. Might have had a bigger impact if it was the Lucha Bros there with him, but again,
right? Maybe
it doesn't always work
exactly.
out.
Yeah, like that. I mean, to be honest, that did cross my mind. That would have been a bit more understanding considering the Pac's connection already, and this was just such a team that was rushed together. Probably why none of us actually went with them to win.
Yeah, without that. And Gina, again, we saw a lot of kind of big table bumps, but Christian fucking off was funny at the start. And the Guns becoming the Dudleys as well. Again, it was kind of this fun match, and Jaxie touched on it, but what were your thoughts on kind of the seats? Because we were quite lucky because we had a screen basically in front of us. A lot of people did complain that the big screens that we had to watch from last year had lights under, so no one could actually see anything. So we were quite lucky that way.
Yeah, definitely. I am thankful for the seats that we managed to have. As like you just said, they were quite perfectly situated where we could see the ring, but we could also see the screens very clearly. So we are lucky. But I did hear that there was quite a few people who were still not happy with the way the lighting looked with the screens. But again, I'm just like you guys. I'm a bit shocked at the winners. It does feel a bit random. It feels a little bit like, okay, they gave it to Pac because he's kind of like the hometown, even though he's not from London, he's UK based, so he's the hometown person. And we really want Claudio at least involved in some way. So let's just put him with Yuta. So it does feel a little bit rushed together, especially because they've only had one match previously before together. So it's okay, so they're clearly a cohesive team already. And I'm not saying it as I'm disappointed because House of Black didn't get it, but in some ways the match, there was issues, just like the 16-man tag match where you have 12 guys in the ring, but most of them spend most of their time outside on the floor, waiting for the two guys to do their work in the main ring, you know? So it did feel, in a way, you had like 12 guys, and maybe that was too many to have it in this match if you were going to do a lot of just one-on-one spots. And of course, like, Christian, he's the one who actually lost it for his team over anyone else, because Killswitch could actually have gotten the win numerous times, but he had to stop because Christian doesn't want Killswitch being the one to get the win. He wanted to get the win. So in a way, Christian was the one who screwed his team over out of that win, because Killswitch could have won it any time for them. But yeah, it was a great match, and it was super fun to watch live. But again, I think if I would have seen it at home, I would have been a little bit more disappointed in terms of seeing the one-on-ones happening in the main match, and just knowing that 10 men are just on the floor right now, not doing anything because they're waiting for the other guys to have their time, you know? I gave it.
Yeah, I fucking hate that with ladder matches, and I have done for a long time. But again, look, like you mentioned as well, you know, there was kind of watching it again. I saw like the Luchasaurus and Christian problems. Whereas maybe watching it live, I didn't really see a lot that was kind of going on there. So like later on, when we saw Luchasaurus, it was like, what? Rather than watching it back and going, oh, okay, that makes sense, you know. But again, not a bad match at all. I gave that 4.25 predictions. The girls went House of Black. Boys went Patriarchy, so it is 2-1. No points for everybody. Up next, AEW Women's World Championship. Timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah. And the best storyline in all of AEW concluded with Mariah defeating Timeless Toni Storm for the Women's World title. It was emotional and physical. It started with an exchange of hard-hitting rights and lefts. Built some quality heat for May. It saw Storm avenge her brutal betrayal by bludgeoning the challenger with Storm Zero on the ring steps, but her love for May proved costly. She hesitated to attack her with the same shoe that did her in, allowing the heel to take advantage of the opening with 2 runner needs and a Storm Zero of her own for the win. Monty, what are your thoughts on this? Because this was pretty much perfect for me.
Yeah, you know, I thought this was just really well done. I mean, I love the spot too. I love the placement on the match. I mean, on the card, because even though you can argue that something like this is the best storyline in AEW, it still felt important even early in the show. It didn't feel like we were losing anything by them not being one of the last matches, and I think I kind of appreciate that. The fact that they could kind of stick out. I mean, I guess that kind of speaks to just how good the story was, because you know, it kind of showed that, yeah, they didn't even have to do it late in the card. They could get,
Yeah, no, I was surprised this was on second. I think, but again, it's
yeah,
like I said, the talent shone through, you know. At the point, I was like, why is this on now? But
like, why
as
is
we
it
saw
so
later,
early, right? Especially when you think about how important.
Yeah.
Right. But again, I like it. I really like the match. I like the story that they told, even if I thought that Toni kind of hesitating. To me, the beatdown that she got originally was so brutal. I didn't lose it. It didn't lose my mind. It just it kind of like, okay, I get the story you're trying to tell, but I don't believe you. Talk like something else. I don't know. I don't know why. I just didn't really like that part. Not that I didn't understand it. I get what they're doing. It was well done. It was well executed. I understood, but it's just like the way she beat her down originally. To me, the love should have been completely gone. Like you've been chasing this girl down for weeks since then. You know, you're already a little bit, losing it. It's just kind of funny to me that that's the thing that kind of did her in. But at the end of the day, I did think it was well done. I think Mariah kind of just, again, shined, and it showed that this entire time that everyone's been calling Toni the crazy one and all of that. She's been the one acting crazy. But the entire time, sitting right in your face, smiling, being the beautiful woman that she is, she was the one who was just as crazy, if not proven here to be more out of it mentally, when you think about just how far she was willing to go to put Toni out of the business. So I loved it. I thought it was really, really cool. I love the story. I love the fact that coming into AEW, she kind of got pitched this entire thing. And I'm pretty sure it took some twists and turns. Pretty sure everything didn't go the way, because you can't predict the future. But they really did a really good job of weaving everything perfectly, and just for her to have this moment. And I do kind of like also as a contrast to like what we had with Saraya. As great as the moment was for Saraya last year to get it in Wembley, we got another person, winning in another person from the UK winning in London, but not trying to get you guys' adulation or be celebrated for it. You know what I mean? Not doing it, not to even be accused of a pity type of thing. She took this from Toni Storm, and it just so happened that she did it in a place that's probably important to her.
Without a doubt, and again, this is how well the story was. A Brit getting booed in her own, hometown, basically just down the road. And again, it's
right.
It needs to be said. Well done, AEW, with this booking to, no ex-WWE star. Getting someone who's got the talent and the potential,
right,
and then giving them a story to actually make them become a star in their own right. And that's what they've done. And again, Gina, May did everything. She kissed Nigel, kicked Luther, and even slapped her own mum. This was definitely her moment.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, my God, I was laughing and pissing myself because I actually thought it was Tony's mum that she hit. And I actually remember saying to both Jax and James, God, imagine if she hit her own, if that was her own mum, like that would have just been insane. So the fact that I found that out after the show, I was like, it fucking was her mum. What the hell? How she's slapping her own mum. My mum would absolutely cry. She'd also whack me back. Like I just, yeah, I can't believe Mariah did it. But like you guys said, Mariah kind of did it well, even though like you guys mentioned, Saraya did it and she got all the cheers and the congratulations. Mariah came out and was booed by her own like hometown sort of thing, but that's great because people were so invested in it that they were willing to boo her, still. But regardless, I thought it was like a really great match. It was really fitting that Mariah May used Toni Storm's finisher to kind of like get that win, because again, May was like impersonating Toni. She was dressing up as her and things like that when she was with her. It's kind of fitting that she's like, I'm going to take that belt from you and I'm going to use your own move against you to take it. So yeah, fair play to her. She said what she was going to do and she actually did it. So fair play to her.
Without doubt, And again, it might not have been in the best mood watching this live, but rewatching it, realised just how good it was. And we saw Mina in the crowd next to Rachel Ellering. And, of course, seeing someone bleed as well kind of give it an even bigger impact. But, I mean, Jaxie's not really much to add apart from both women did deliver. And Toni, even in defeat, got her flowers from the crowd afterwards, which just shows how successful this run has been. She's been a great AEW Women's Champion.
Yeah, I think you guys pointed out, like, everything that was so great about this match. So I don't really have much more to add, but I have to agree with a lot of what you just said. This was really just great to see. I really liked, like, we weren't getting your typical average, oh, we need to cheer her because she's a fellow Brit. No, like, she came out and did not give a fuck what sort of approval she was getting from the crowd. She had one motivation and that was it. Her slapping her mum. Honestly, if I did that, I wouldn't even be worried about the slap from my mum. I just know that wherever my father is, he's on his way and he don't care if I'm in a match, he coming out. I don't know how that girl survived after the show because my dad would have kicked my ass. So yeah, good luck to her and her family. I hope that she's apologized to her mum. That was a hard ass slap that she gave her.
I hope she just said, like, do you want to be part of the show and didn't tell her. She was like, you're going to be part of the match. But...
No, this is what I did actually say. I said, do you think she warned her that this was what she was talking about when she said, you're going to be part of the show? Like, this is going to be your 5 minutes of fame sort of thing, getting slapped by me. I don't, you just don't know, because to be honest, the shock on her mum's face said it all. And I was just like, I don't know. Even my sisters, if my sisters were there and I just slapped her right in front of them, the match wouldn't be like 1-on-1 anymore. It'd be like 3-on-1. I'm not gonna lie. So she got out lightly there, but this match was really great. And it ended exactly how I feel like it needed to end, with Mariah picking up this win over Tony, with how dramatic a breakup it was straight after winning the Owen Cup tournament. This needed to be the outcome. So it was great, and it was great to see kind of Tony get that reception afterwards as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. So scores out of 5 then. Monty, what would you give it?
I give it 4.5. This was a really good match. Again, we got the right title change. Everything about it kind of just flowed perfectly, and I think they told a great story overall in the ring and out. So yeah, 4.5.
Gina?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match as well, so I'm going to give it a 4.5.
And Jaxie?
Yeah, 4.5 is fitting.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 5. I really, really liked it. And again, I don't know what I'm pleased with more, like the story or just the kind of the finish, and what we got was just really perfect for me. Predictions, we went May, so the boys won 3, girls won 2. Up next, Hook defeated Chris Jericho to regain the FTW Championship, marking his 3rd reign with the title. The best bit, I will say, I mean, Big Bill was loved. Everyone hated Fozzy. But the best bit was Taz leaving the announce table, trapping a bad apple in his own version of the Taz mission, and watching his son tap out Jericho to win the match. Gina, what were your thoughts? This was, for me, should have been shorter. But then again, at least it was done.
I mean, the one thing I was going to say to you was that I was grateful that it was only 10 minutes long, and that they didn't drag it out any longer than that. They could have made it shorter, to be honest. I would have been even happier with that still. Like you said, it was more of a feel-good moment, and the only best moment was when Taz got involved. Everyone was itching for it to happen. We all been itching just to see Taz kind of get some revenge on the people who have been terrorizing his son for the past few months on screen, So that was the best moment of the match. I'm glad that Hook won. I'm really not a big fan of the high guys, Jericho Learning Tree era. And I'm just hoping that this really is the end of Hook versus Jericho in any way, shape, or form, because I don't think he needs to be connected with him anymore. So, yeah, I mean, the match was good. It served its purpose. But, yeah, I was over it. I was ready for the next match.
Yeah, this was definitely a match to take a break in, without a doubt, even with cricket balls and stuff like that. But, again, I mean, Jaxie, as we saw in the matchup, Hook can see, but no one really cared until Taz kind of jumped in. And, again, it was a fun moment. We all did get into it.
Yeah, I don't think it got like the big pop that they probably expected, but this is how things always go when someone's had an eye taken out. It was the same with Pac, and he wrestled half of his match with a blindfold over both eyes, and then revealed that he could see. So it's a trait that does work. But I don't think everyone's going to always necessarily react as big a pop. I think it does depend sort of the setup and things like that as well. I feel like you guys kind of said a lot of it, and kind of just called it. What really saved this match and made it like a good match was Taz sort of getting involved and being like, all right, I've had enough of this shit. Just sit down, Brian. So I think that I don't think that moment saved it, but I think it added to the overall win that actually made the match feel good. So overall it did what it needed to do, and like my sister said, I really hope that this is the end of Jericho and Hook. Let him move on, and Jericho just maybe have a couple of weeks off, go have a holiday or something, or a break.
I'm not to interrupt, but I think that's the thing, and Monty, will Jericho actually take a break, or will he just say, look, as long as I'm getting a reaction, that's all that matters? Is the secret is just everybody to be silent, and then he will go away, like a horror villain?
Yeah, I would like to think so, but when you're getting people telling you please retire, you're getting all the other type of signs that's there, and he keeps in interviews, he keeps talking about it in a very way, just a way that I never really expected him. Because if you follow Jericho's career, he's been a guy who's always kind of known when it's time to switch things up, when it's time to do something different, when it's time to freshen up. And he just keeps harping on the fact that he loves his job and that he loves Tony and everything is fine. And so I don't know, man. I don't really know. Tony obviously loves continuing to book him, no matter what the internet or what people say about it. And again, I think that's the reason why you come with the gimmick. I mentioned this earlier with kind of like Soraya's whole, taking over the show and her gimmick. If you look at some of the backstage segments she's been doing since All In, it seems like she's going to be kind of leaning into the fact that on the internet, a lot of people vilify her and say she's this and she's that. And again, that would be fine and probably has legs, but it don't have as many because Jericho's entire character and faction is all about that. So I would like to think that now that this may be over, it should be over, that we're done with this. But to be fair, he has a faction. So now we just need to find what's that guy? The guy that Hologram. Maybe he's gonna start bullying Hologram. We just need another young talent that the fans seem to enjoy. And Jericho's probably gonna pop up again, and we're gonna have a few forced into it out of nowhere. That just seems to be the formula. But if I'm being optimistic, I'm hoping he goes away and realizes he needs to do something different, or just take a break in general. And then if I'm being realistic, then I'm just thinking that no, he's just gonna move on to the next situation. But this match, the funny thing about it, I thought this was the best match that they had. That's just not saying much. That's the problem. And I think, like you said, everyone is over it. I saw a photo. I don't know. I know you guys were there, probably saving your phone battery. But while this match was going on, the picture was getting around that you guys had the restroom lines. A lot of people were going to use this as the bathroom break. I don't know if that was true, but that's what the photos were saying. They used the Jericho match and the Fozzy performance as the bathroom break. So, yeah, that's not a good sign.
Some of us had to watch Bags whilst other people got a break and missed entrances because of it. And also, Monty, you mentioned about phone battery. Jaxie had a go at me for not wanting to watch the pre-show in McDonald's because I said I need my battery. She went, what the fuck do you need that for? So again, you just proved my point, Monty. I thank you.
Get it off your chest, James.
You complaining. I'm sick of you complaining. You were loving the fact that you were there in attendance with two twins on your arm and you were getting a lot of attention because you're loud mouse. You know that you were loving it. You were feeling like Hugh Hefner. Now sit down and stop complaining and watch my bag when I go to the toilet.
Yes,
End of.
No, sorry, ma'am.
Besides,
Yeah,
I actually don't even think that we used that match as a toilet break. I think we had to go get there.
Oh, that makes it better. I'm glad I lined up and missed a few entrances.
Yeah.
Same point.
Yeah. Anyway, out of five for this one. Gina, what would you score it?
Yeah, like I said, it did what it needed to do. The only outcome from it was how great it was to see Taz pull his old move out. But I'm sorry, I'm just going to give it a 3.
Give it a 3. Oh, Hook did have the first, the whatever the fucking sound is. You know what I'm talking about. Taz's the machine, the heartbeat machine.
Yeah. That was pretty cool to start out with that. I liked that little reference.
Jaxie, what would you score it?
I'll give it a 3 1/4.
Monty?
3.5.
I'm going to give it 3 1/4. Predictions: we went Hook, so the boys won 4, girls won 3. Up next, Young Bucks defended the AEW World Tag Team titles against FTR and the Acclaimed. The match was full of non-stop action, but too many bodies maybe. The action was nowhere near as disjointed as some of the bouts we saw earlier, but the chemistry was still lacking, which surprised me a little bit. Still plenty of fun. For the Bucks retained with an EVP trigger. Dax Harwood, good young vets, Zach Gibson and James Drake hit the ring and stared down the retaining champions for jumping FTR. And again, it is always great to see grizzled young vets. But Jaxie, what are your thoughts on this? Because I told you beforehand that I maybe wasn't looking forward to this as much, and it, for me, just didn't really click. You know.
This is one of those matches for me. When it was live, for some reason I couldn't actually focus. So I felt like I actually missed out on specific moments that actually were great in this match. And it took rewatching this match to actually see those moments and go, actually, there were some like hype moments that I really did enjoy. Like, again, you say about the chemistry, but for me, I think that was the one thing that kind of did work in sort of like the setups of sort of the Acclaimed and what was it? The other team, the other team like kind of doing each other's moves, but with each other, you know, with separate ones.
Oh yeah, so like Max Caster was doing the finisher with one of FTR.
Yeah, they were doing like the Shat Machine, and then they were doing the EVP and stuff.
Yeah, I think the chemistry in terms of like just the stuff, it like was fluid. Like it didn't really feel like, you know, oh, we need to hit these marks. Like those moments worked for me, and I actually think rewatching it back made me realize that like I enjoyed it a second time round, watching it up close, because I think I was able to see like those sort of specific moments that really kind of brought the match together as a whole. But I did actually see this sort of being Young Bucks retaining. I felt like it could potentially be something like Acclaimed maybe turn heel at the end of this, maybe on FTR, and start a feud between them. Because of like my overall question after this was like, where do the Acclaimed go from here? Because they've slowly sort of transitioned out of the trios tag division, kind of like then re-entered the tag division, and obviously have not come out the victors. So where's the next stepping point for them? Like, do we feel they need to change up a little bit? I don't really want to see these two feud with each other. I don't really want to see the Acclaimed like split apart. But I also don't know whether or not like their routine maybe getting a little bit not generic, but a little bit tiresome. So whether or not they need to think about a change up for their characters, like it doesn't have to be an overall change, but maybe just slightly somehow. So I don't know what's next for them. That's kind of the overall question that I've actually like come away from that match with, is like about the Acclaimed. So
I think,
I'm
sure. The Acclaimed, that's a great point. And Monty, I'll ask you, we did see the Bucks dressed like the Beatles. I will say that was all right. But again, as you mentioned with the Acclaimed, with FTR, I mean, Grizzled Young Vets are a good building block, and Monty, you and I do love that team. But when did the tag division get so kind of mid? I mean, would that be fair to say? Because it's like it was the hottest thing in wrestling, and then it's like, what's happened?
It's a good point. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just a lot of splitting talent too. You know, you have guys like Dustin and Guevara. Not that they're the shining wizards of team, but when you have them, you have. I'm pretty sure the Kingdom may, but the Kingdom are also healed. So would they come into start challenging AEW tag titles? Like when you split, they have so many teams still, but then you have Ring of Honor tag division. You have the trios of both shows tag division. Like it's just a lot. And I don't know, maybe that's kind of diluted the original tag division, but yeah, man, it's weird. It's really weird because you're 100% right. You know, AEW used to kind of always had that. That's one thing you can say. You can tip your cap on to just in wrestling for a while. The tag division in AEW was going to be great. But I was just like you, John, coming into this match. I wasn't really that excited. I didn't really want to see FTR and the Bucks have been done to death. You know, as great as those two teams are, after a while, you can only, you know, you can only do the Hardys versus Edge and Christian. You know what I mean? You can only do those combinations enough times before everyone's like, okay, we need some Dudleys, we need some other elements to be added to this mix. And then when you add the Acclaim, who, like you guys mentioned, was trio champions, people got tired of that. And then, but before that, you know, they had their tag division run, so it's like we've seen it already. I wasn't really too excited about either situation. So when you think about storytelling, who is the most exciting? Who's the freshest out of all three teams? It would be the Bucks because of a lot of the elite stuff that they've been doing. So yeah, man. Another problem too is that, and this is not a bad thing per se because it's great, it's good wrestling. But AEW does this type of match all the time. You cannot tell me you did not watch this match and felt like, oh, okay, this could have been the main event of Collision, or this could have just been a just a regular tag match. It did not feel like an exciting tag team title chapter of a feud type of deal or a blow off type of deal. So I think that kind of did it a disservice too. But yeah, man, I'm just like you, James. And then with the Lucha Bros status being up in the air, I'm just trying to think who, even with the Grizzly Young Vets coming out there and getting the reaction and just being next, I don't think they're beating the Young Bucks. I don't know what the hell. Like I would love it. I would love to watch the matches, but I don't know if that's the team I would trot out there and be like, yeah, we're gonna build. That's next. We're gonna build it through them. They're capable. They're 100% capable. But it's just like you mentioned, James. If they do beat the Young Bucks, then where do we go after it? Back to FTR? Back to the Acclaim? Like where do you go? Like where's the depth?
There's no babyface, like you said, teams coming through, which there's a problem for AEW.
I guess we're gonna have to create some.
Well, and again, even you talk about like Ring of Honor, and I was like. I was saying to the girls as well about Dustin Rhodes being like a double champ now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're going, what? And I'm like, no, it is. Like, sometimes Collision just turns into Ring of Honor television, I suppose. But, you know, like we talk about there. But Gina, something I didn't hear, I saw back, was the CM Punk chance with the Young Bucks as well. And again, we'll talk about it a little bit more with Jack Perry, but I think that needs to be done. But as Monty says, the tag division does need a little bit of work.
Yeah, it really does. And like you just explained, you know, it's shocking because they have so many tags to work with that it's just shocking that they seem to be lacking in excitement with their storylines. I again agree with you guys and say that I wasn't as excited for this match as I was for loads of other matches on this card. So I wasn't entirely impressed, let's just say. Like, it was a good match, yeah, but again, it could have been the main event on a Collision at that point for me, rather than be the all-in event that is shown. I do think it was the right decision that the Young Bucks retained. I don't think that they're at a point where they've built such a big enough feud that we can believe some of the other tag teams can take the belts off them at the moment. I think, like, watching it back as well, I was a little confused because they started the match like it was just two guys that were legal to begin with, but then like when the match, I think like Max Caster was the one who almost got the near fall, but then like Matt Jackson chucked him out and got the pin on Dax, so that kind of rule wasn't in place anymore. So again, like, they need like continuity. If it's going to be like a two legal partner match, then do it that way, or say it's, you know, for all in, like everyone can go in, sort of thing. So
this is
like,
an excellent. Yeah, this is like the point about the ladders.
I noticed watching it live, that I didn't really cotton on to that, but watching it back, I was like, okay, I thought they had to tag back in, you know.
Even the referee's like, yeah, everybody can be pinned, or I'll let things go. But again, there's another problem with tag teams, and like you said, with trios and whatever else like that. There seems to be loads of people in the ring at one point. It's just,
exactly. So yeah, I mean, either way, it was still a good match. It was good to see FTR again in person. Again, we've met them, just so in case you didn't know.
We have. Yeah. You didn't get a picture of me with them, but again, it's not about me, exactly. Is it? I suppose.
No, guess not this time around. But still, either way, it was a great match to like watch. But again, it wasn't necessarily needed, and I feel like the right outcome came out of it. I don't think a title change was needed.
No. Right. So scores out of 5 then, Jaxie.
I'll give this a 3.5 because like it wasn't my favorite on the match card, to be honest.
No, I think it annoyed me as well, being straight after Hook and Jericho, because I was like, there goes another toilet break opportunity. Monty, what are you going to score it?
I'll give it 3 3/4. Not bad, but again, not anything we haven't seen before.
Yeah. Gina?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 3 3/4.
3 3/4. I don't know if you mentioned earlier as well about the hook Jericho. We did see the hook signal, but it's very sad. Just want to mention that. Because, again, my mood maybe wasn't great, but by the next match, it had really improved. We do predictions first. We all went Bucks, so boys 5, girls 4. But the Casino Gauntlet match, I mean, like I said, I haven't been in the best of moods, but, you know, I was ready for this. And for the first time, we actually had to stand up for where we were sitting as Orange Cassidy got a huge reaction. And the girls went absolutely nuts for Okada. So, Gina, I'll ask you first, because you were fucking throwing bombs, Orange Cassidy. Does that reaction from the crowd show you how big a star he actually is, even though, and I quote, he's only a one-trick pony?
No, I wasn't surprised to see that reaction because I do know that he is loved by a lot. And again, it's not like I'm trying to pick on him. I personally just don't see why he's so hyped. I think he's a bit overhyped sometimes. So again, it's not that I have a personal issue with him. I just think that there are like other people that I would more go crazy over than Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, well, it's true. Like Okada and Jaxie, again, your scream is still in my ear there. Like, even the video of Okada's entrance is just you just going, Okada! Okada! Like, he's going to run away from you again like he did when we saw him.
Listen, all thoughts go out the window whenever I hear that music, and you are just lucky I didn't get up and vomit down there like I did the last time, okay? So I actually think I did pretty well.
No, to be fair, yeah.
I think I really held back and restrained myself. It was just really exciting to hear him, his music in Wembley Stadium, see the pop that he got. No one yelled more than me. I'm clearly the number one fan. Okada, if you're listening, I was the number one fan. I lost my voice because I was shouting your name. Love you.
Well, we talk about the best bits and Okada and OC hugging as well, and Okada just with his reactions. And it's funny.
Oh my gosh, yeah, his face.
But I turn and go, how can Jaxie just react like that for someone's entrance? It's crazy. And then we got the in-ring return of the legendary former Ring of Honor World Champion and commentator Nigel McGuinness. Monty, when I say I lost my fucking shit, I nearly choked on a handful of Haribo because I just wasn't expecting it, and then it was a full stand up and just shout. I must have looked like a madman, but I didn't care. I mean, fuck me, what a moment. I mean, Mariah May, she must have some powers in her. You know, one kiss and Nigel is fully back. But, I mean, Monty, what a moment for me. But we've talked about Nigel from NXT UK and finally getting that fucking moment at Wembley with 50,000 people. Man, it actually brought tears to my eyes, you know. I don't care what that sounds like.
No, I get it, man. It was a big deal, you know, a big deal for a lot of people. Not just you, but I know a lot of my fellow wrestling fans from across the big ocean over there really loved to see this moment, and I understand, man. He's a guy who, you know, he's great at his job, commentary wise, and you know the way he kind of especially been antagonizing Brian. I think just seeing him even have a chance to possibly meet Brian again and continue that feud. That's part of it, but it's not even just that. It's just again watching him, like you said, have that moment in Wembley, and that's what pro wrestling is all about. Like people get so wrapped up in what their favorite is and this and that, and sometimes it's really just about giving the fans, giving the workers, giving people just special moments. And I think you guys just want. That's one of them situations where it's like, yeah. I remember when Nigel came back for the Casino Gauntlet match, and I think that was an awesome moment, man. It was an awesome moment to see, and it was just great to see him back doing his thing too. You know, again, it's just one of those things that I think I always take pride in it because wrestling can make you feel a lot of things, and I think the best thing wrestling can do for all of us a lot of times is make you feel like not really a child again, but just give you that joy that made us wrestling fans. And I think moments like that do that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it either, you know, and that's the thing, you know, and it's crazy to think we've actually done a podcast about his career and not thinking that we're ever going to have a chance to kind of see him is just a great moment, you know. And again, exchanges with Ricardo. And then from there, I mean, Gina, he does follow you everywhere. Zack Sabre Jr. Have you actually been to a wrestling event he's not appeared at?
No, everyone I've attended, he's been at, and it's actually frustrating. And it's not even frustrating in a way that's like I'm annoyed at seeing him, but it just seems to always come back and hit me like PTSD. And so it just feels always personal whenever I see him. I feel like he's
Crazy.
stalking me a little bit. I think
Yeah, I
maybe
don't wanna
he's
say
in
it,
love
yeah.
with me. Yeah,
Well,
that's how I'm
what's-
starting to take. I think he's in love with me and he's following me everywhere. So, yeah.
Well, what's weird, he was even at the Clash, and I'm not sure he was part of WWE. So again, for him to just be there, especially in that bush. But anyway, I was singing both Zach's and Nigel's name. You know, it really, I must have looked crazy, but I was just in my element. It really was a dream match to see these two, you know, different generation of British wrestler going at it. And that wasn't it, you know, because the most unforgettable moment came with Ricochet make his AEW debut, entered through the curtain to a thunderous ovation, wasted little time showcasing the explosive offense. I mean, Jaxie, again, to see Ricochet make his AEW debut here was just such a great moment, you know, and we just lost our shit.
Yeah, like I think everyone saw the rumors coming about with this, but it still was so great to actually see that. And I think the moment hit everyone, the moment that we could see the big R turn up, you know. So for me, I loved it. There's so many sort of like dream matches that I think Ricochet can have now. So I'm just eager to see kind of how he gets on in a different company. And yeah, it was a really exciting moment to see him join the Casino Royale match.
Yeah. And what's crazy for me as well, can I go make about myself? Back in 2013, one of the first kind of independent wrestling shows in Sittingbourne, in front of like 200 people, and I saw Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. And you fast forward 11 years, and they're both wrestling at Wembley now, which is just, again, it's incredible. And if you like invest into wrestling to get these moments back, are fantastic. And despite all the surprises, some superb in-ring content that came about because of them, his rival Christian Cage late in the match that set up the finish. We also saw Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, Mark Briscoe, Hangman, Adam Page, Jeff Jarrett, and then Luchasaurus emerged from locker room, teasing that he was no longer Kill Switch. But we kind of, even in the crowd, because we hadn't seen what happened earlier, really, we were just like, we know what's going to happen, which it did with Kill Switch letting Christian Cage get the win. And of course, pin, and Monty, I really like this, on Nigel McGuinness. Because I think Nigel's just going to spin it in a positive way, even though it was an opportunity to get at Danielson, his man does get the win.
Yeah, I thought that was the genius part of it. I just want to say about this stipulation, this should be like their version of the Royal Rumble. It just because it's so unique and it's so like wrestling focused, and it's something we've seen before, but at the same time, it's different. And with the stakes, I just think it'll be more creative. Like instead of having your own battle royal or doing a ladder match for these moments, even though I don't mind the casino ladder or the casino battle royal, I just think this concept. I don't know if they want to do it every year at All In or whatever you want to try to do. Or I don't think you might not want to. I don't think you need to make a show called Casino Gauntlet. But what I'm trying to say is that this is a great concept. Yeah. This is a great concept, though. You know what I mean? And I just like the element of it. I like the stakes, and I just love that it's unique, and it's a way for AEW to kind of have something another thing that's because they have these stipulations and these things that with names like Blood and Guts, but we all know a lot of that are callbacks to things that we already know. So to kind of have something that's your own, I think would be a kind of a cool thing for them. But this was just great. It was just really, really done well. I mean, the wrestling was good. I was definitely surprised by the finish. I mean, I did see what happened earlier. I did understand like the whole element of the patriarchy. I know that at some point, you know, at this point, he Kill Switch has been. He's literally he's done everything. So at some point, when he actually does finally, what is it going to take? Is my question. I think I asked that like on a podcast about AEW last year or something. Like, what will it take for him to finally kill Christian? I don't know what is it gonna do. But to be honest, I do know at some point when it does happen, it's gonna be very cathartic for anyone who still roots for Kill Switch because man, it's insane how much he's giving Christian. But man, this is other than the other shock than the fact that Christian won it. I thought this was just really cool, man. Just awesome. Like you mentioned, everything you kind of broke down was really, really made this match a really good surprise. You know, the surprises mixed in with the debut that I kind of, once they kind of announced the match and I knew Ricochet was probably signing, I figured this would be where you would do it, how you would do it, because he gets to do his thing. And I just thought that this was kind of cool. And as much as I would have loved the Hangman situation and just working that out, that was kind of like how I saw it going. Because basically he's pretty much the main one promoted, I think, for it anyway. But other than that, and other than trying to predict it and just with the finish, everything else about it was excellent. I honestly feel like this is one of the best moments of the night by far.
Yeah, like I said, without a doubt, as soon as this happened, I was up and I didn't come back down. You know, and I think that's, you know, testament to the kind of the booking of the card. And I don't put battle rules that high on a rating system, but this was perfectly placed and executed. And Gina, like Monty was saying, this was just so much fun. Even being there and the excitement of just like counting down and wondering who's going to be, and it kind of the payoff that we got as well. It was just fun.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, I feel like I'm Simon Cowell today. I feel like I'm the one who's always the bearer of bad news. But no, I really enjoyed it when I was there live. But watching it back, it did feel a little bit, again, like the tag match where it was, you know, a lot of people just sat on the outside of the ring, just doing nothing so that two people can have their spot in the ring. And then, you know, everyone then come back and get involved in certain spots. So it did feel that way when I watched it back rather than being there live. Being there live, it really was so much fun. And to see that countdown, like you said, it made you feel like Royal Rumble and things like that. And just even getting those callbacks to, you know, Ricochet coming out, Nigel McGuinness. It was great. It was such fun. And I definitely enjoyed it so much more live.
Without doubt. Taz made a great point that colour commentators were kicking ass tonight. Double J got a huge pop. And Adam Page and Jaxie, Monty mentioned this as well, because we all went at Page. He sure knows his character, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, we are, either as a face or now he is, we're just so invested in it, and he knows how to play it.
Yeah, exactly. I think you guys brought up a lot of really valid points. And overall, just sort of the fun nature. This really sort of reworked the crowd up as well. I think in terms of like just giving off a more excited vibe to kind of like maybe feeling a little bit depleted at one point. So this got everyone really hyped, and I think it went down really well live and just rewatching it back. It was a lot of fun, but like we saw this outcome. I just kind of didn't want to accept it. But it's good storytelling. Like you got the reaction you wanted. You know, like the amount of boos that went across the board, across the spectrum was crazy.
Yeah, and he did say the Trios title would lead to the World Championship, and apparently he can cash it in, so I guess it's like Money in the Bank, so he'll probably wait, you know, until...
He'll buy this time.
Yeah, whenever. Out of 5 low, Monty, what are you going to give it?
Yeah, I give it a 4.5. Really good. Really, really good stuff. I'm thinking about 4 3/4, but I'm going 4.5. And yeah, man, I think now that you mentioned it, I didn't know, I forgot about the cash in part. All right, perfect opportunity. I think that's when Kill Switch should do it, but I don't know if he will, because at this point, will he ever turn on this guy?
Gina?
I mean, I think I'll give this a 4, and that's more based on watching it live than I did watching it back. So I think a 4 is fair.
Jaxie?
I gave it a 4 1/4.
Yeah, I gave it 4.5. Predictions, we want Page, so it means the boys are on 5, girls are on 4. And we've got the AEW American Championship next. Will Ospreay versus MJF. MGF sported made in USA Lex Luger inspired tights. Like the flag, not the streamers. I mean, Gina, from tonight as well, I know you're hanging around with me too much, but those streamers did your head in as well, and they they were around all night long afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt my eyes kept just adjusting it, going up to those streamers that were just hanging around. And I just thought, why would you do that at the middle of the show? Like, surely you would do that maybe more towards the end of the show. Like, seriously, that was not clever. And if I was the staff member that was going to be tasked with cleaning that shit up, I would be demanding double time.
I'd be fucking furious. And like Bryce Rensburg couldn't reach it either. He was trying to jump up at it, just, bless him. And then we see Will Ospreay have an Assassin's Creed entrance, and Jaxie, I know you really dug this as well, and it was so involved, wasn't it? Like you said, with the production.
It really was. I lost my shit at this because, being a fellow Assassin's Creed fan, as soon as I saw that sigil for it, I did lose my shit. I know that Will is just as much an Assassin's Creed fan as well. So it was really cool to actually hear that Ubisoft really sort of approved of this sort of advertisement. Not only, for themselves, it's beneficial for the new game Shadows coming out, but they actually had one of the main voice actors from the new Assassin's Creed Shadows. Or no, actually, no, it wasn't. It was the original voice actor of Ezio, I think, from Assassin's Creed 3. Actually doing the voiceover commentary that I obviously got to listen to when rewatching it back rather than hearing that live. So actually hearing that it was the original voice actor of Ezio, that for me was quite exciting. And sort of gamer nerd in me sort of moment was great. The overall sort of presentation with having those sort of like parkour sort of free runners all kind of like parkouring down the ring alongside Will just really gave that aspect that he too is a cerebral assassin sort of like character that is coming to relieve this villain MJF of his belt. So the overall presentation for me, 10 out of 10. I really dug it. It was one of my favorites.
All right, now on to the match. MJF worked over the previous injured neck of Ospreay. He appeared poised to steal a win via championship shot to the face late on, but Babyface fought through it, kicked out two, remained in the fight. From there, an unknown competitor clad in black appeared, prevented MJF from utilising brass knuckles. He removed his mask, revealed himself to be Daniel Garcia. Distraction set up a hidden blade, and Ospreay finished his opponent with a Tiger Driver 91 for the win. Obviously, there's a lot more else, but, let's go on with it. Gina, what were your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I expected this match to go hard, and it did. The one thing that I will say is, why don't AEW play showing replays? Like in the reruns, it just doesn't like to show any replays, and there were so many great moments in this match that they weren't showing the replays of, and you would have thought that they would take advantage of all of the skill that's being showcased in the ring right now. It was great. I personally had no thoughts of Daniel Garcia getting involved, and I'm not mad at it because I was just as surprised when I saw him turn up. And again, I think there were rumors of his ring, MJF's ring, being stolen, and it would make so much sense if it's Daniel Garcia to have stolen that ring, with MJF having taken him out, I don't know, earlier this year, was it? Yeah, I just thought it made so much sense, and I just thought it was great to see Ospreay get the win with the Tiger Driver. All of it makes sense. All of it was great storytelling. As my sister said, I'm also a gamer. I love Assassin's Creed, so the entrance was just 10 out of 10 also for me. I literally was stood up the entire entrance going, parkour, parkour. So it was super fun to watch. And yeah, one of my favorite matches for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. We did see a cameraman get hit with a hidden blade. Apparently that was the newly crowned Rev Pro Undisputed British Tag Team Champion Chuck Mambo. So not a bad spot to have. But Jaxie, as Gina saying, this was quite a good matchup. Christopher Daniels gave Will the international title belt afterwards, and of course the fireworks. I mean, some people are rating this like fantastically. I mean, I thought it was good, you know, but I don't know how, you know, how you rated it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. This is my favorite. This was one of my favorite matches of the night. I think that there were so many high moments, and one thing I really want to point out was the sort of the change up. So, like, if you think back to like this time last year when we were at All In, did you hear how the crowd went wild when MJF came out at first with the kangaroo kick? Everyone was screaming for it, wanting it. The minute he did it in like a year later, it was the complete opposite. And it was just like sort of like a surreal moment being in the crowd from both those times and just seeing the ultimate switch up there, you know? So I enjoyed this match a lot.
Yeah, without doubt. Monty Jaxie said the presentation of Ospreay in Wembley both last year and this has been nothing short of outstanding. You know, like I said, the pyro going off from the top of the stadium kind of hammers home the enormity of his star, but you already knew that, didn't you?
Yeah, man. I've been blessed and spoiled from watching him for a long damn time, man. To when he was a scrawny junior heavyweight kid, probably not as long as some of you, like you mentioned, Johnny. Probably not as far back as you go, but at least since 2016, right? Yeah, at least since 2016 and his first match with Okada in Rev Pro, when he was in Rev Pro, and just all the way back to those days, I knew he was special. And then when him and Ricochet broke the internet in New Japan, and then all the way to his junior heavyweight championship run, to when he became a world champion in Japan, to now, it just it all makes sense, man, and it's smart. I think if you're Tony, he is your poster child, especially when you go over there. That's the guy I would put on the front of everything in regards to the UK. And I just think he's a perfect person to be representing AEW over there. His style is just what everybody loves. If you're into pro wrestling, you love Will Ospreay's style, and just everything that he brings to the business and to AEW. I think they're knocking it out of the park when it comes to presentation of him. Not that I think it will be that hard. I honestly feel like, it's really easy, just kind of let him do his thing in the ring, give him chances to do what he do best, and he'll do the rest. And I think this match with Max was really good. Like you mentioned, Jay, I don't think it was the perfect thing that everybody keeps saying, but it's mostly it has nothing to do with the wrestling, though. If you're telling me you love this match and the wrestling was perfect for you, the Daniel Garcia thing took it over the top, I'm with you. To me, though, the story going into it and Ospreay just being so hung up on not doing the Tiger Driver, and when the guy he did the driver to is literally fighting in the main event, I couldn't get past it. And it made the finish to this match a match that, when you think about who MJF is and what he's supposed to represent for AEW, he's supposed to represent the top, if not the top bad guy, one of the top bad guys for AEW, one of those originals who is going to be the foil in every Faces plan. And then you have an Ospreay, who I believe is a guy who's one of the faces of your company. That's a new signing. And I just did not like the fact that a match like this, the finish of it, if Daniel Garcia don't show up, he's getting dropped with the Tiger Driver. I think we all know that. You know what I mean? So I think that's the thing that kind of took away from my point of view, just because the story they were trying to tell from Ospreay's point of view was just it was lost on me. It'd be different if Bryan Danielson was done already. He couldn't fight in his main event. He was retiring early because of that Tiger Driver. Then yes, I understand completely what Ospreay is saying, but the fact that the guy that you did it to had to come to you, just the show before this, and be like, do it. Like, what do you mean? Why does it take that for you? Like, come on, man.
He really needed to kill a couple of guys on Collision with that move before this matchup. Do you know what I mean? Just explode their heads.
And then it also hurts me because I'm a New Japan guy, and I watch you. Like, you have no problem doing it to Hiromu. She did it to Naito. Like I watched you do it like plenty of Japanese guys
now
without
you got the
thinking
problem.
twice about it. And you come to AEW and now your morals and oh my God, Brian, his neck was damaged before you dropped him on it, my boy. I'm sorry, but he was already going to retire. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm off of that soapbox. Great match, but yeah, that story kind of took me out of it because it kind of spoiled what I do to finish would be. But they still did a really good job, like you mentioned, James. Good match, but I don't think it's everything that I've seen some people say it is either.
No. Well, we're going to get the scores now, so we're going to find out. So, Gina, what would you give it out of 5?
I'm going to give this one a 5.
Give it a 5. Jaxie?
Yeah, I gave this a 5 too.
Monty?
4 1/4.
I'm going to give it 4 3/4. Predictions, who went Will. So boys won 6, girls won 5. As the TBS Championship, Britt Baker versus Mercedes Moné. And I missed the entrances queuing for the Lou because they had, and this is not a shot at AEW, but last year they had the whole stadium open. And this year they had like a massive section where the entranceway was as well, kind of all topped off, so all that was shut. So it meant obviously more people queuing up for more things. Again, I don't think I missed that good an entrance, did I? You know, with Mercedes Moné. I mean, Jaxie, did I miss anything? I mean, I really like Dogs as well, and Royalty. Was there anything I missed?
Yeah, like Mercedes came out in a horse, thinking she was like the queen. She had like a little puppy dog as well, I think, in the carriage with her and with Camille. And they came out like fully pulled by horses too, so it was quite extravagant.
$10,000 road.
Yep, it was quite flashy. You didn't miss much.
No, I got back from the match with Moné working over the injured back of her challenger, punishing her in an attempt to take back her core and power advantage. Baker fought back but struggled to muster sustained offense. TBS champ controlled the pace. She mounted a comeback. Baker did her best Eddie Guerrero impression, got her opponent's muscle Camille ejected from the ringside area. Even the odds in the favour, though the challenger could not best her opponent. Moné delivered the Moné Maker and scored the pinfall victory. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this? The crowd was flat as fuck during this as well, weren't they?
I was pretty shocked. I was pretty shocked at kind of how quiet everyone was. There was a lot of bathroom breaks that I noticed going on throughout this whole match as well. This did come as a shock, but I think again this was why the sort of Jamie Hayter sort of return moment would have actually lightened this up or woke the crowd up a bit more, you know. I'm not too sure. I'm really not sure how I feel about the finish, in the sense of it being a clean finish. You know, we had Camille actually sent out and away by the ref, and Mercedes got a clean pin on Britt. The only issue I've got with this is like Britt has just returned, and like if you were trying to like kind of keep that hype, like I don't know if I would have like done the loss like this. Again, this does go back to like my sort of original discussion about how Jamie could have come in at any time for sort of like a save from Camille. This could have caused distraction. You could have then maybe already like set like the seeds for maybe a Britt and Jamie feud. You know, there was just plenty of stuff that you could have done to probably lighten the atmosphere up that accompanied this match. You know?
Yeah, without a doubt. And then, like you said, there was a kind of lot of chatting during this as well, getting into position. But again, Baker treated like this. But Monty, as we mentioned earlier, I'm kind of glad that Mariah and Tony Storm wasn't in this position. I know that might sound horrible, but like I would hate to think that the crowd wouldn't react to them as much as they did. And I think maybe that's why Tony did it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the story they told definitely, it would have been, like you said, disappointing to see them ignored or just not giving the attention that they deserve. But I can, I'm not gonna make the case that the crowd deserved better because I'm gonna be honest with you, this match just wasn't that good. Their chemistry wasn't really the best. I'm not gonna say it was bad. I've seen people say this was absolute horrible, and just like Britt Baker just don't belong in the same ring as Mercedes. And I think you can tell that Mercedes was kind of carrying the load. But like, did people already forget the laundry list of things that Britt Baker said she was returning from, like as far as an injury goes? Like, she is allowed to have ring rust, and for her first one of her, I know she's had other matches, but to have the first big match on a stage like this in a long time with someone like Mercedes, I think she's allowed for everything not to be the smoothest. But I don't think she was horrible. I don't think the match was anywhere near as bad as if you're going off the internet. Because you guys were there, so you probably you weren't on the timeline as you're watching like I was, and to watch some of the clips and to see what some people were saying and just how bad they view Britt because of this match. And but at the same time, with the finish too, it's a great point about Camille just getting taken out of the finish and it just being clean. It's like, oh, so we're done with this after this. It seems, at least that's the vibes I got from it. I don't know if that's the case, but honestly, it seems like they're probably not going to go further with this Britt Baker Mercedes story. And like, I don't know if that was the original intention, but when you don't have Camille save Mercedes, it's like, okay, then what do we need to do this again for, at least right now? So I don't know. We'll see where they go. I don't know what that means for Britt going forward, to be honest. But she's a big enough name. I think we all know what Mercedes is and what she's done. And this match may have not been the best or the cleanest, but I didn't think it was like garbage. I just didn't think it was I just don't think these two had the best chemistry, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. So yeah, man, this wasn't as bad as maybe as the crowd energy or some of the people on the internet make it sound. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think it had anything. It didn't have anything on what Mariah and Tony did earlier, and I don't think. And like you mentioned, they were also done wrong because they're right after an Ospreay match, and pretty much anybody you put after the type of matches that Ospreay do, you're gonna have to really come out there with some energy to keep the people going.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and this is what makes kind of like legendary cards compared to kind of just like even normal cards or pay-per-view, as we know, because there's always going to be a down period, and I felt that more watching this match. Of not that the action was bad, but just there was a lot of chatting, and a lot of, you could hear it from the crowd in itself that they were tired, but they knew they had the main event they kind of had to conserve energy for as well. And I tell you what, there was a couple behind us, or Gina, do you remember the guys behind us who left after the Ospreay match? Because at that point they'd been there for about 4 hours and just kind of had enough,
Yeah, I remember hearing them say that they were there mainly just for the Ospreay match with MJF. So I think for them at that point, because they had been there so long, they probably just thought to themselves, let's save ourselves the traffic of going home by leaving now, because they clearly were not interested in the rest of the match card. So yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like this match was quite disappointing just because both women, this would have been a dream match in a way. Before Mercedes had fully joined AEW, this would have been a dream match for some people, to have Mercedes come and join AEW and then go against Britt. But like Monty said, Britt's allowed to have a bit of ring rust. Do I think it was too soon for them to chuck her into this match? Yes, I do. I think she needed to have come back a lot sooner than this to dust off some of that ring rust. For if they wanted to sort of build on this. So it was hard to fully be into this match. And the thing is, I love both these women individually. I really do. But I really just didn't enjoy this match.
Well, one thing, and I think the main takeaway from this, I learned as a male, is that you can't shout out, put it in her mouth during a women's matchup. I mean, to be fair, to me, Gina was chanting that about Britt Baker, but as soon as I did it, I just get these dirty looks. So I didn't really appreciate that, but I've learnt now.
Yeah, I was
read
fine.
the room.
Yeah.
Read
I
the
was
room,
fine.
gang.
You weren't.
Yeah, they loved you, and then it just looked at me and were like, "What are you saying? Covering children's ears."
Creep.
But anyway, yeah, no, I enjoyed the match. I meant the glove, Monty. Come on. Scores then out of 5. Jaxie, what are you gonna give it?
I'll give it a 4. It just wasn't my favorite. I think the booking could have actually been done better. Personally for me, I would have put the Darby Allin Jack Perry match here rather than the women's match. And again, I feel like that this match would have benefited from Jamie Hayter's return being placed here. So overall, I just kind of felt like that there wasn't much. There was a bit of disappointment, and I also have to agree, like I don't feel like there was a lot of build up for this match. And I don't feel like we got to see a lot of Britt before this, and she could have done with just actually doing a soft return rather than being thrown so quickly into a title picture, because I think that this could have been better between the two of them. And I know that they can do better. It's just we'll see what the future holds for them, but it's just it's really odd because where does Britt go from here? I don't really know.
Yeah, right. I would have put the ladder match here, but more than that in a little bit. Monty.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 3.5. Like I said, they just didn't really click. I think they also kind of got done a disservice with the weird suspension thing that kind of took a lot out of it, and also I just also think that both women were Mercedes worked more matches. I give Mercedes the credit because she was fighting some matches, so not really her, but a lot of the story in this match. And Britt did a one or two too, but not in this match when they were building it. They were doing it on promos, and it's just I don't know. I just didn't really none of the promo segments stuck to me to the point to where I'm like, you know what? Other than the fact that we respect and love both of these women, I don't think it was anything about the story they were telling promo wise that made anybody be like, you know what? I cannot wait to see these two go at it. I think the only reason why anybody were really excited to see these two go at it is because we respect and know and love both women for opposite reasons, or you know what I mean? I think that's kind of did the match a disservice also.
But I think with Monet as well, the same moment not get mentioned is she knows the WWE style. So again, to come out of that system and then learn and then have the injury to then come back, it's going to take a little while to it kind of really truly clicks. And I think we've seen a little bit of that. And obviously, we've mentioned with Britt Baker. But Gina, what would you score it?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 3.5 as well. I also feel like they just lost out on taking advantage of possibly blaming, not even blaming Britt's ring rust, but just her losing with Camille getting herself involved, and then Jamie coming out, and that being her, intro back into AEW. So for me, I think 3.5 is good enough because I just wasn't into it.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4. Predictions, you went Monet, so boys on 7, girls on 6. Coffin match for the TBS Championship, Darby Allin versus Jack Perry. The scapegoat overcame an early onslaught by Allin, who had thumbtacks glued to his face. Neutralising first, he bound his hands together, and then his feet. He tossed Allin off the ramp and through a table below. Despite one last gasp attempt by the babyface to mount some comeback, Perry was able to put him in a coffin and close the lid for a very quick victory. Afterwards, the Young Bucks appeared with a gas can and dosed the coffin in flammable liquid before they could escalate the situation. The lights went out and Sting made his way to the ring. He laid out the Bucks while Perry escaped. From there, the Icon helped Allin, stood tall to cement his return to the company. Monty, I mean, for me, being there, watching it, was a much better experience than kind of watching it back. Even with kind of Sting's entrance and all that lot, the kind of singing along to the tune and all that was great. But then re-watching it's like, did it really need to be here? Because it's just no time whatsoever.
To me, oh my goodness, to me watching it live, I was just ready for it to be over. That's how I know that that's just a complete contrast to just the live show experience. Because if you're there, you're probably happy to see Sting, and it makes the perfect sense. Yeah, Sting. To me, I'm like, I thought we were done with you, old man. It's like that little like I thought you retired, Sting. Please just let it be. Because not that I wanted to see Darby get burnt up, but like at this point in the show, and you're watching it live, and it's just like I don't really care. And then the match, once I found out after the match, they kind of got cut for time because of, just time constraints, which is kind of crazy when you think about the fact that it seemed like AEW was trying to cut certain things for time, and they still came close to going overtime, which is very, very just funny in a way to me. But yeah, man, this match got cut for time, so they kind of just went straight for the glass and straight for the violence, and it was what it was. But like, how many? Like, I think I've told you guys this a million times at this point. How many times at this point I've watched Darby just get mutilated? Like, I'm not a sucker for pain type of guy. I'm not really a sadist. I love watching Minoru Suzuki matches, who's very known for being a sadist. But I'm not that guy. I don't like watching guys hurt themselves just for the hell of it. But at this point, when you're watching Darby in this situation, I think we all kind of knew it was coming. So it's fine. It was cool, I think. And but it didn't go anywhere long enough for anybody to have any developed drama into it. And then the whole stuff after it went too long to where it's just like, all right, let's just get this over with. So it was just weird, if you ask me, overall.
Yeah. Well, even Sting forgetting his back and having to go back, or how long the Bucks took to get to the ring. But
Right.
Gina, I've actually got a question for you, because this is interesting. Monty's just sparked something there. We talk about Orange Cassidy and one trick pony, but is Darby Allin a one trick pony? Like, is literally his only thing at the moment is to come out and get fucked up? Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, I will admit that I do feel pretty similar to Darby Allin as I do for Orange Cassidy. It's not that I don't like him, and he does put on great matches, but at this moment in time, it's always the same goddamn thing over and over again. So maybe that was one of the several reasons why this match wasn't as hype as what they kind of wanted or expected it to be, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and again, with the real glass, I think it's time to kind of move on with that, and Jaxie, I think you agree with me there, and also another thing you pointed out was, why would Jack Perry get a new title belt just for him to lose it like 5 days later?
Exactly. I mean, I kind of have to agree with you in terms of like, I'm been wondering and asking myself lately whether or not Darby has to like introduce some sort of change to his character. It's not that I'm not excited by him, by his return or like his matches, but I also don't know if I care so much about it, just because of it's always like the same thing lately, that he's just a punching bag, like he's throwing her out around the ring, and that's it. Like, he is literally a human punching bag. So I don't know what direction. A lot of what went down at All In has left me with a load of questions for wrestlers. That is like, what is your direction going from here? I'm not entirely sure. But I feel like, this was what needed to happen. Jack Perry needed to retain. Exactly like I said about him with introducing a new kind of look to the belt. Like, why would they do that a week before this match? Like, unless he was going to retain. But I was quite shocked at like how petty some of the crowd were shouting CM Punk's name. I was kind of like, can we get over this? We're the ones that keep bringing it back up, not wrestlers. But yet, then when it gets brought back into the social media space, everyone's like, oh, why are wrestlers still like ongoing about it, or blah blah blah? Why can't they get over it? It's because we, as the fans, like keep doing petty shit like this. Let's just leave it now. It's been a whole fucking year.
Jack Perry's
let's
like,
leave
I'm
it
over
now.
it. I'm not going to talk about this.
Well, I was,
and he's like, motherfucker.
I don't need to be hearing that, to be honest. I just wanted to kind of enjoy the match, and to be honest, being live and there, it actually took away from the match because it just irritated me. I was like, he's got absolutely nothing to do with this match,
Well, then, guess what the next show is? guess we're all out it. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Oh God! But Chicago's a good market, but unfortunately, sometimes we got the right talent there. Anyway, scores out of 5. Monty, what would you give it?
Okay, so let's see. I gave Britt me and Mercedes 3.5. I'm just gonna say this was like just for the sake of please. I really hope that he has to pay for none of his hospital bills. 3.75. I give it to you, Darby.
Gina?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do the same 3.75.
Yeah, and Jaxie?
Same.
Yeah, me too. 3.75. Predictions? We went for Perry, so boys were on 8, girls on 7. As we go to the main event, the AEW World Championship, Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland. And Bryan's entrance was special. I mean, everyone was invested. Gina, like, the crowd changed at that point, didn't it? Like, everybody there was focused on what was happening in the entranceway and then eventually in the ring,
Yeah, there was kind of like a sudden, like a curtain of tension just kind of enveloped the whole stadium at that point. And even though I was super excited to be seeing Bryan Danielson coming out, my stomach dropped when the music was playing, because I was like, is this a sad entrance song? I don't know how to feel right now. So yeah, all the attention was just, if people were in the bathrooms, I can tell that they were rushing and trying to get back as quick as possible.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well, Jaxie, because you and I, like we said, we were separated by 1 point at the moment, but me and Monty had gone Swerve in this one, sorry. You guys have gone Danielson. So at that point, I'm thinking, you're going, it's going to be a really happy end to the show, and I'm like, I think this is the end. So again, even that mood approaching this match was so strange.
There was so much anticipation going into the match. Like, again, like we've been talking a lot about, when we were there live, and kind of the feeling that we were getting from the crowd. And I think that this was like sort of one where there was a mixture of excitement, but also just like sort of nervousness as to what outcome that there was, and confusion because of like having an entrance with, the final countdown. It's going one of two ways, it is a complete red herring. You still can't decide, like, is this actually the final countdown, or is it not? Like, are they teasing us? Are they actually pulling like the biggest one over on us? Going into this match, there was just so many nerves.
Right, and the final countdown played, and 50,000 people sang along. Swerve came out and wore the trademark robe of Jimmy Rave to the ring, no to the late performer, and a throwback to Prince Lana's embassy during the Ring of Honor days. Bryan Danielson, in this matchup, did win the AEW World Championship in the closing moments of All In, defeating the seemingly unbeatable Swerve Strickland to claim his first singles title in the company and preserving his in-ring career for another day. But it wasn't easy, though. We saw Danielson overcome damage to his head and neck, including a crimson mask caused by focus and a relentless Strickland. Everything through at the champion, Strickland brushed off, seemingly unfazed by the offense of the American Dragon. The turning point came when Adam Page jumped over the guardrail and attempted to interfere. Monty, I cannot tell you how pissed off I was when I saw that motherfucker, and I thought, oh, not like this. Not like this. The distraction did allow Danielson to fight his way back in the match. Didn't guarantee victory. Instead, it was a psycho knee to the back of the head and a label lock with little joint manipulation thrown in for good measure that allowed Danielson to win the title. Your new AEW World Champion, Bryan Danielson. It is not the final countdown. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, Gina, like we talk about the crowd before, but this match, it just built and built and built and built, and this was, for me, perfect.
Yeah, definitely. I totally feel like Swerve was perfect in just his aggressiveness. He was being such an aggressive wrestler, just to show how bad he wanted to bring Bryan Danielson down and get that win and be the one to retire him, So he was being super aggressive. But then, like, Danielson just kept coming back, and I'm just so grateful to have been able to watch that live, just to see it and be in that crowd. And again, these are the type of matches where you go into them even with this stipulation and be like, who's gonna win? I don't even know. And I always complain about some WWE pay-per-views, some of them being too predictable and things like that, like, or have done in the past, like that. I can't say that for this match. This match, I just was on both sides. At one moment, I was like, no, Swerve is going to retain and he's going to send Bryan Danielson into retirement. And then other times I was like, no, Danielson's got this. He's going to win the belt. He's got to, you know? And so it was just such a great back and forth. And I really loved both of it, like the ending for it. Oh, I loved that Hangman was involved in some way. And again, we can say that like Swerve, we can kind of blame Swerve's loss on Hangman. So it protects him a little bit, but I don't think Swerve is going to be hurt by this loss to Danielson, to be honest. I really don't, just because they both gave so much. And a nice little shout out as well, the independent wrestling show that me and Jax went to last year, where we met a wrestler called JJ Gale. He was actually asked to be one of the extras in this, and the stewards who would be yanking Hangman back. So I saw that on his Instagram after the show, that he was asked to be an extra. So it was really nice to see just a little connection like that there, you know. And I bet it must have been amazing for him to even just be involved with a show that big, just in even being an extra.
Yeah, without a doubt. And like to talk about as well with the crowd, the chants for Swerve's house and the yes chants. I mean, again, I'm not a huge like yes chant fan, but I was my next day my arms were killing me. I tell you that. But again, to experience that kind of world title change hands, and it wasn't until afterwards that I realised kind of how big a moment it is. Not everybody gets there. That's what I'm talking about, like WrestleMania, Monty. Is like that's what it felt like, you know, with the victory with Danielson and everything like this. I mean, it was incredible, Jaxie. And again, another thing that was incredible, I looked at my phone after the event, and not one picture or video was taken during that match. I've got the entrance of Danielson, and then nothing. It was my phone was not there. You know, it's crazy.
Our eyes were glued straight to the match itself. It was just incredible. You all brought up some really great points. I think, you know, even just having like Swerve sort of acknowledge and indicate towards Bryan Danielson's family, like Birdie and Buddy, all being in the crowd, like it really like was hitting so many like sort of high strung moments that made you feel like, oh, this is it for him. This is it. You know, he's not going to get it. And there's like absolute terror in the kids' eyes. You know, they're all hating this, they're seeing this, and then just for him to pull that win out, it's incredibly satisfying for someone like Bryan Danielson, who has not won one single piece of gold since being in AEW. But it's incredibly bittersweet because I really didn't feel like Swerve was ready to lose it. Yeah, I felt like he could have gone much longer. However, I do not see this being like the end of Swerve's like sort of championship career. I think this is him just getting started. And with like the addition of Hangman Page sort of like making an appearance, you do have scope to kind of really like distract Swerve for the moment, to allow Danielson to maybe face other opponents and maybe lose it elsewhere before Swerve re-picks it back up. So I feel like this was all excellently, really well done. This is my favorite match of the night. I really loved it.
Yeah, like I said, and again, one of the biggest moments of the night was Swerve brushing Bryan off. We were like, oh, just like we couldn't believe what Swerve was doing.
Honestly, he did it so smoothly. He did it so smoothly as well. Like, just everyone felt that.
My only issue, Monty, with this matchup was that Swerve tapped, and I just feel that you just pass out, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, but again, even giving Danielson that, what were your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, it's really weird to try to come up with anything to say that hasn't really been touched on. I mean, it's fantastic. Everybody should watch it. It did its job in telling multiple stories at once, and then also kind of teasing the future with Hangman. My entire basis of even picking against Bryan was because I was like, I don't want Swerve to lose that belt before he fights Hangman with it or for it. But I also, after the match and just listening to certain things that they've been kind of pointing out, Hangman at this point is too far gone. The championship just don't matter to him. And I kind of, once I thought about it from that perspective, then I kind of was like, you know what? Now I understand, and so I wasn't really pro Bryan taking this just from that perspective. And I've been ingratiated into wrestling for too long. When a guy when they threw up the surgery at the end of the year, when they're telling you all of these things, like at the end of the day, Danielson is not supposed to be doing this much longer. But I never thought about the whole like Ric Flair type of thing where when Ric Flair did his retirement tour kind of thing in WWE, the original one when he basically put his career on the line if he lost his next match. At first, I didn't really care about it, but as the matches got on and as he started to tell stories with different talents, I think a lot of people were invested all the way up until we got the Shawn Michaels moment. And I think it sounds like that's what they're going to be doing with this title run for Danielson, making this entire run be not only title matches and him being able to be the face of the company, but now it's like whenever he loses this belt, guys, it's probably the last time he's ever going to fight in general. So, yeah, man, this is special stuff, and just like you guys mentioned, you guys being there, I can tell that that you guys kind of had a different point of view from me just being there. But I felt it through my television screen, just how much this meant to Danielson. He's always been great at that. And just how much it meant to the fans there, too. He's just always been great at relating and just making people feel stuff. And I think that's why when he says he's been the best wrestler in the world for years, nobody bats an eye because can you really argue it? And I think with his resume in AEW, and another thing, I saw a lot of AEW fans doing this, and I think, honestly, this is one thing I think AEW should always try to brag on and point out. So far, nowhere near a bad AEW world champion, in my opinion. Just if you look at who's been on that list to wear that belt, I know we hate Jericho now, but if you just go all the way back from what Jericho was at the beginning of AEW all the way to where we are now with Danielson and like the Joes and the MJFs and just like Kenny Omega, like where we've been, Hangman, where we've been as champions, and of course Moxley being, I think, the most reigns. That belt's lineage is awesome, and having Danielson's moment to be the latest chapter of it too, that AEW can put that belt's lineage up against anything at this point.
Yeah, that's an excellent point as well. And I should say Swerve's run, because we're talking about Danielson, but Swerve's run's been incredible. Like I said, the new contract and everything else like that. There's no doubt he is a main event talent,
and it wasn't long either.
Man. No,
that's another thing. Like he didn't have to do 1,000 days either. It was great without that.
And even getting to that point, with Paige as well, of using him to get into position to kind of be undeniable. And when you think about Danielson as well, JR joined the commentary, should say, but 10 years since WrestleMania 30 with YesLMania, and now we get this All In moment as well. Unbelievable, So out of 5, Len, I think this is pretty simple, but we're still going to do it. Gina, are we going to give it?
Yeah, this is a 5.
Yep. Jaxie?
Yeah, same 5.
Monty?
I'm going to give it a 4 point. No, just playing 5.
Well, I'm going to do something that I've never done in the WNL podcast history. Out of 5, I'm giving it 6. That's how good.
Meltzer. All right, James.
It was great, though. Predictions. Boys went Swerve, girls went Bryan. So it means final scores. We finish all on 8. So it means the AW Prediction League, James and Jackson on 3, Gina Monty on 2. So I guess congratulations, everybody, then. I mean, are we really happy with a draw? I don't think. Well, I mean, we might be.
I mean, I feel like there was still quite a few sort of shock outcomes that neither of us saw. So I think that we all did quite fair and well during that. So fair play to everyone.
Yeah, well done for copying, Jaxie. So we have got All Out in 2 weeks. Don't forget about that. And I'll tell you something, overall, if the tag match had started the show, ladder match would have been where the Monet was, and you put Jericho 0 Hour, then it probably rival WrestleMania 17 for a card. But it still was an incredible card. But before we get to the rating, we'll do match and MVP. So, Jaxie, start us off then. Your match and MVP of the night.
Match is going to be the main event. And my MVP is going to be Mariah May. I think she set out exactly what she needed to do. And she did it in dramatic fashion. So, she deserves that.
Without doubt. Gina?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do the same. I think Swerve and Bryan Danielson is match of the night, and MVP is definitely going to be Mariah.
Monty?
Yeah, but I'm my MVP is gonna be Brian. You just can't. I don't think, like you mentioned, James, 10 years apart to kind of have those stars aligned like that. Completely different company, loving everything you've been doing. If we just go off his match quality, if you just his one-on-one big matches since joining AEW, I don't think anybody can compare almost at this point. So yeah, man, I'm gonna give MVP and the big moment. All that goes to Brian to me.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to the MVP to Swerve and Storm, because even though in defeat they come out, I think, even bigger stars. The match is main event. So scores out of 10. So Monty, why don't you start with your score out of 10 for this one?
This is a weird show, man. There's a lot of good, a lot of stuff that I just could do without. But at the same time, I would not say this was bad either, or it didn't feel, like disjointed. Just from my viewership point, from watching it on television and the stuff I got, I just thought it was a really good AEW show, really good wrestling. I didn't think it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. But it had some of the moments that I feel like if you're AEW, if you've been watching television for the last however many months it's been, I think this is gonna be one of those shows that have a lot of those defining moments going forward for AEW. But I still don't think this is like a 9.5 or anything. I'm gonna go with like 8.5. I think is fair.
8.5. Gina?
Yeah, do you know what? I think an 8.5 is fair, so I'm going to go the same.
Jaxie?
I mean, the overall experience for me, I'm also kind of basing this on like sort of the live experience I got. So I'm going overall 9, because I think it was just a great experience being able to see it live.
Yeah, me too, and especially spending it with you two. So that's why it's 9.5. You know, it's just a great experience all round. Makes you sick. Anyway, we move on to the press conference. We saw Danielson saying this was his favourite moment of his career. I'm not sure how long this is going to last. And Tony Khan basically saying, look, we did it with Sting. We're going to give Danielson his title. And like you said, Monty, when it's his time to lose, that will basically be him done as a full-time performer. We'd find out a little bit more on Dynamite, which we'll talk about in a second. Mariah May read a piece of paper saying Tony's career was dead. Mercedes Moné was asked, and Jaxie, again, Moné was asked a really awkward question about a recent divorce. And I'm just like, just talk about the fucking event of wrestling in general.
Exactly.
You know?
That to me was just a little bit disrespectful. First of all, in no way, shape, or form is that any of your business to actually ask her about her personal life. But secondly, what does that actually have to do with the event that just took place? Sort yourself out and actually sort your business out. If you're going there for a press conference on the sports, then actually stick to those type of questions, because I think that was really poor taste.
And another thing, if it was me, I might ask Monet, are you single? But I wouldn't do it if I'd been married. And even the guy was like, well, I've been married 16 years. So it was like, well, shut the fuck up then. Anyway, Hook.
Exactly, what was your point?
Yeah. Hook was quite funny. He just sat there and was like, yeah, all right. Yeah, and it was like, whose idea was it for like Taz's theme? He's like, yeah, it's mine. I wouldn't mind the title. Will Ospreay, again, Will is just Will. Monty, as you all know, for many a backstage comment, but he was talking about Ricochet. He said he would like to work in Mexico, as he hasn't done that yet. Of course, being over with wrestling in Madison Square Garden, Tokyo Dome, and of course Wembley as well. And he thanked Assassin's Creed and lost his shit for Dave Meltzer. So he's a mark then, Monty.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah. Well, Tony Khan was asked a couple of questions as well regarding Daniel Garcia. He said he won't go into specifics, but it was a good sign that he was there. All right, Tony. He also called John Moxley AEW's biggest star. He said it in this kind of comment he was referencing. But, I mean, Gina, does that surprise you that Tony classes Moxley as his biggest star?
No, I don't, because I think Mox's debut on AEW is still probably the biggest debut that we've all seen, and the pop that was given. So I'm not surprised that Tony said that, to be honest.
Well, I think he's the most reliable.
Yeah, well, he mentioned how booking on Collision has got better than it was last year. Yeah, no shit. What, no people choking out backstage areas are there? And also, finally, about Nigel McGuinness, and he said he doesn't know, but he will be on commentary. One thing that did ruin it, watching this, was RJ City was asked, like, who would be fighting for the AEW title, and he went, I think Jack Perry would. And I'm going, why the fuck would you say that? And then Dynamite happens, and I'm like, you're a fucking mark. Let's get on to Dynamite anyway, because AEW's biggest star, John Moxley, made his return with his New Japan Pro Wrestling entrance music and basically told Tony Schiavone to go fuck himself. So, Jaxie, does that mean Moxley is not part of the Black Belt Combat Club? He's with Marina Shafir now? Like, what the fuck's going on?
I was so confused because he didn't really make any sense and he didn't really solidify anything like whether or not he is part of that BCC still or what. He didn't address like any like sort of the wins for the BCC, so it makes me feel like he's just come back really angry that he's not got no gold but everyone else does, and maybe he's just going off on his own. But like I genuinely thought he was going to punch or deck Tony at one point. I'm glad he didn't. But yeah, I didn't know about him doing like sort of like independent work with Marina Shafir. So for me, this came out of the blue and I was like, what?
And it's like, I want to speak to Darby Allin. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's just move on.
You called out Darby, but then like you had Marina like take out just random mans. Like So he's left me confused. I'm intrigued to see where things go with this. But yeah, it would have been good to like maybe define. Are you happy for the BCC? Are you not?
Or when you call out someone, you say they're not here, but I know it. Why are you here then? But again, like I said, we'll probably get more of that before we do. We see Adam Page beating Ishii, and again, Ishii. I mean, Monty's he turned into Dolph Ziggler. Like Ishii was that DDT he sold for was incredible. You know, like he still got it.
Oh yeah, man. I think that was the kind of the depressing part about him not being a G1 wrestler or not doing any of the things, the big tournaments anymore. But I think what I'm starting to realize, and we can talk about this if we ever do another New Japan show. Guys like Ishii and some of the, even Okada is a great example of it. Man, you know, wrestling that New Japan style for years and years, and then you can come and get paid either just as much or probably a little bit more on appearance fee basis just to do like not watered. I don't want to call AEW watered down New Japan, but it's definitely nowhere near as taxing as New Japan. So you see a guy like Ishii come to AEW and have the time of his life, kind of like with Shibata too, for example. So you know, the more I think about it, as much as I hate New Japan losing talent like a Ishii, he was slowing down as far as working that schedule. So to see him here in a match with a guy like Hangman, it was cool. It was really, really cool. But like you're 100% right, it's kind of funny to see him in that mode and selling and doing stuff like that. But hey, man, Ishii's a special guy. He's special.
Yeah. Right, Dan, it will be special when we see Swerve and Page in a cage at All Out. We also saw Jamie Hayter beat Harley Cameron. Daniel Garcia attacked MJF from behind, looked to end his career. For security got involved. May celebrated winning the world title from Tony Storm with a quick promo. That seemed so short, it was unbelievable. The next match featured Ricochet's Dynamite debut and his first AEW single belt against Fletcher. Again, this was another really good match, and Jaxie showing what Ricochet can do, and obviously teasing that Will Ospreay match as well.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed this match. Feeling sorry for Carl Fletcher because he definitely has just become the number one jobber at this point. But it was a really good showcase for Ricochet, and I really enjoyed what happened after the match because like I enjoyed Pac's interruption and like how aggressive he was because he was kind of like, "Don't forget about me. I've got that opportunity." And yeah, you're already here, like handing out other title opportunities, and you've forgotten about me. So I kind of like that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're kind of going to do with this sort of trio.
Yeah, you don't really see people getting attacked from behind from Poison Ranas, but again, is what they can do, and I'm sure Pac and Ospreay will be crazy as we saw that. And the show ended with Bryan Danielson giving a promo to celebrate his victory at All In. He mentioned not being under contract and needing neck surgery soon, and his family's ready for him to come home. Jack Perry appeared on the big screen, touted his recent accomplishments. Then Perry blindsided him in the ring. Within it was tape speech we were watching. He leveled a new champion with running knee and posed for the TNT and World titles to end the show. Yay! So, Gina, finally, what are your thoughts on Jack Perry looking to challenge Bryan Danielson?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it because I wouldn't mind seeing a match between these two. But do I think Jack Perry is going to be able to win? No, I don't. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do and how they work with each other, though. That's for sure.
Well, again, like we say, the next AEW show will only be a couple of weeks away with All Out. So we'll see how that happens there. But that's it right now. Don't forget, we're across all social media, Twitter, Love Podcasts. I think the WNR James now, but I changed it almost weekly. You can find the entire WNR team on a Twitter banner. Monty, where can people find you?
At my Monty Pod on Twitter. Hit me up.
And Jaxie?
I'm at Jaxie Scarlett across Twitter, X, Instagram, and Twitch.
Yeah. And Gina, you said you're doing a lot more streaming as well, obviously with Jaxie.
Yep, I am. You can find me on Twitch and X at Purple Pain.
Oh, shit. I just remembered one thing we've not talked about, and we can actually talk about it for a second. Jackson, Gina, the after party. Because after Wembley, obviously I went home, but you guys went to the after party. I completely forgot about it. So, Jackson, what were your experiences there?
I mean, it was real cool. We got to meet a couple of the wrestlers. They were extremely nice. Brian Keith and Sean Dean are some of the most incredibly kindest people to sort of like approach. They were very friendly, very welcoming. Just listened to everyone, and a lot of people were drunk. It was quite embarrassing, really. I was like, oh my gosh, pull yourself together, seriously. But it was just such a great experience. Sean Dean is so good looking. Like, I mean, I knew that anyway, but like in person, geez, he's beautiful. But yeah, sis, what did you think about it?
I thought it was really, really fun. We first got there and they were playing a lot of just, different entrance music, and it wasn't just AEW, it was WWE entrance music. And it was, I mean, they could have done with a bigger bar. I thought the venue probably could have been chosen better. But either way, it was still great. We went outside for a break and just all of a sudden turn around and there's Brian Keith, Sean Dean, and Prince Nana. It was just awesome. And there were a few annoying people around, but it was nice to know that they kind of were avoiding them, but not avoiding us. So it was really great. And when we got to see Prince Nana come out to start his emceeing, it was just awesome because he had a whole entourage with him. Leo Rush was there, and he actually gave us flashbacks to our very first live WWE event where we were kind of 3 rows from the front, and Triple H pointed at us and was like, twins, and we were like, yeah, and then he just like said hi. Leo Rush did that as well. He looked at me and Jax and was just like, you're twins, and we were like, yeah. So it was just a really nice callback, and it felt nostalgic, and yeah, it was just nice to party with them. And
Mercedes was there.
Yeah,
That was
Mercedes,
really fun.
Thunder Rosa was having the
Thunder Rosa was like just partying it up. She had so much fun.
Jumping to crowd surf as well.
Yeah, Swerve was there. I've forgotten the name of I think it's Big Pressure, who's originally performed the song, the guy who performed the song Big Pressure, which is the name of Swerve's entrance music, was there as well. And they both just like started playing that song and jumped into the crowd, and they were crowd surfing. And then Thunder Rosa just jumped on in, and then Brian Keith too. It was just a whole thing. But it was just so much fun. Like Swerve was right at the front near us, so we got to kind of like touch hands when he was reaching out to everyone. Yeah, the experience overall was amazing. And the guys from What Culture Wrestling was there, so that was fun to see them too.
Well, I'm glad I was in the car travelling 3 hours home then. But like I said, it's a great experience that you can have at these events, and as we've seen there. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed the after party. Well, let's get the outro done then. The WNO also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. Send us an email at podcast@gmail.com. And YouTube's on podcast for all latest clips and podcasts go at the same time on YouTube as do SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes where you can download, subscribe, rate and review there. So that is it. Our next episode is tomorrow. I'm doing Monty. I'm forcing him double duty. We've got NXT update, and it's a great American bash. So there's plenty to talk about, Monty.
Yeah, I'm thinking about No Mercy already. So, yeah, we'll definitely have a lot to discuss.
Yeah. Oh, we got No Mercy as well. We've got to do predictions for that tomorrow, but more on that later. Until then, I've been James Rowlands, and I was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. I mean, Jaxie, you and I mean, one of these days, eh?
Well, at least we didn't kill each other. You know, we survived yet another in-person encounter. So that's something, I suppose. Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Of course, the mind of Monty. And Monty, I suppose you're sick of us hearing, oh, this is what it sounded like when we were there.
I zoned out.
Oh, you got me tomorrow. And of course, the genius of Gina. And Gina, I mean, I appreciate you being here, but I appreciate even more sitting between me and Jaxie at an event so we can actually watch it.
Oh, of course. I'm always happy to be Switzerland and the peacemaker.
Without a doubt. Well, thanks for this, everybody, and bye.